microcosm.
In the vastness of space, there is a silence so profound that it feels eternal. It is not the silence of a quiet room, nor the pause between heartbeats. It is a silence stretched across billions of light years, where galaxies spin like pinwheels of fire, where stars are born in clouds of gas, and where black holes swallow light itself. And within that silence, within that incomprehensible stage, scientists have dared to ask one of the most audacious questions imaginable. What if this universe is not the only one? The idea of a parallel universe is not just the stuff of science fiction or comic books. It emerges from the very equations that govern reality. Quantum mechanics, the mysterious language of the subatomic world, hints at possibilities that seem to fracture our sense of reality. In the 1950s, physicist Hugh Everett proposed what is now called the many-worlds interpretation. According to Everett, every quantum decision, the path of a photon, the spin of an electron, even the act of observing, does not resolve into a single outcome. Instead, the universe splits. Every possibility is realized in a branching multiverse. Somewhere, another you exists making a different choice. Somewhere else, Earth followed a different history. And beyond that, countless variations bloom like an endless cosmic tree. But Everett's idea is not the only doorway into parallel realities. Cosmology, the science of the universe at its largest scales, offers its own visions. The theory of cosmic inflation, first proposed in the 1980s, suggests that our universe expanded faster than the speed of light in the earliest fraction of a second after the Big Bang. This inflationary burst smoothed the cosmos, creating the uniform universe we see today. But inflation might not have been a one-time event. It could be eternal, bubbling and churning, with countless universes born in pockets of expanding space. If so, then our observable universe, everything we can see with the Hubble or the James Webb Space Telescope, is but one bubble in an infinite cosmic foam. Imagine it. Entire universes budding like soap bubbles on a cosmic breeze, each with its own laws of physics, its own stars, its own histories. Some would look familiar, others would be alien beyond comprehension. There might be a universe where gravity is too weak to form galaxies, leaving only a thin mist of particles drifting in eternal darkness. Or a universe where gravity is too strong, collapsing stars before life could ever take root. In the grand lottery of creation, we find ourselves in one of the rare universes that can sustain life, staring up at the night sky, wondering how alone we truly are. And the multiverse is not only a story of physics. It is a story of perspective. For centuries, humanity has stood at the edge of knowledge, convinced that we occupied the center of everything. Once, we believed Earth was the center of the cosmos. Then we learned it was only one planet among many, orbiting a star that was not unique in a galaxy that is one of trillions. With every step, our sense of centrality shrinks. Now, the multiverse suggests that even our entire universe is not the center. It may be just one among countless others, a single page in a library with infinite shelves. Quantum physics, cosmic inflation, string theory, and even black hole mathematics converge on this tantalizing possibility. String theory, for example, imagines reality as vibrating strings of energy, existing not just in the 3 dimensions of space and 1 of time, but in perhaps 10 or 11 dimensions. If those hidden dimensions fold and twist in particular ways, they may give rise to whole universes with their own unique physical constants. Some versions of string theory predict not one universe, but an unimaginably vast landscape of possible universes, a multiverse of universes. For the human mind, trained to think in linear cause and effect, this idea is dizzying. But science is not about comfort. It is about truth, no matter how unsettling. And the truth may be that what we call the universe is only a fragment of a deeper, stranger reality. To gaze into the multiverse is to gaze into a hall of mirrors, where each reflection is as real as the one we inhabit. When we peer through our telescopes, mapping galaxies, watching the light of ancient stars travel billions of years to reach us, we are also peering through time. Every photon is a messenger from the past, carrying whispers of what was. But if there are other universes, their light does not reach us. They are sealed off, invisible, untouchable, yet perhaps not entirely unknowable. Some theories suggest that the gravitational pull of neighboring universes could leave imprints, faint scars in the cosmic microwave background radiation, the afterglow of the Big Bang. Scientists scour the sky for such anomalies, searching for signs that our universe has brushed against others, like galaxies colliding in a deeper ocean of space. The notion of parallel universes forces us to confront questions not only of physics, but of meaning. If infinite versions of you exist, each making every possible choice, what does that say about free will? Are we simply actors in a cosmic script, all variations played out somewhere? Or is the existence of those other selves precisely what makes our choices meaningful here, in this version of reality? If every road is taken, then the road we walk still defines us. It is our thread in the vast tapestry. And yet, the multiverse also whispers a strange comfort. For in its immensity, in its endless permutations, it suggests that reality is never exhausted. There is always more stories, more possibilities, more chances. Somewhere, in some universe, the things we regret never doing may unfold. Somewhere, the people we lost might still live. It does not erase the preciousness of this life, this universe. If anything, it makes it all the more extraordinary. For out of all possible realities, we are here together on this pale blue dot, aware enough to ask these questions at all. If you step outside on a clear night and look up, you're not just seeing stars. You're looking at time machines. Each point of light is an ancient broadcast, sent across the abyss long before humanity even existed. The photons that enter your eye tonight might have left their source when the first mammals walked the earth, or even when dinosaurs ruled it. This delay reminds us that what we call the present is always stitched together with echoes of the past. But what if those stars are not the whole story? What if, just beyond the edges of what our telescopes can ever capture, there are other skies, other laws, other histories? The multiverse asks us to consider that the observable universe, vast as it seems, might be only a fragment of reality. Like a fish in an endless ocean, we may only glimpse a tiny part of the waters that surround us. Cosmic inflation gives us one vision of how those hidden universes might form. Imagine space itself as an expanding fabric, like dough rising with raisins scattered inside. Each raisin is a galaxy, drifting further apart as the dough stretches. Now imagine that this dough doesn't rise just once, but keeps bubbling forever, spawning endless pockets that inflate into entire universes. Each pocket is cut off from the others, sealed by expansion faster than light. To us, the boundaries are uncrossable. But mathematically, the process does not stop. It means universes could be blossoming this very moment, beyond our cosmic horizon. Now shift to the quantum scale, the theater of the very small. In laboratories around the world, scientists smash particles together in accelerators, searching for clues hidden in nature's smallest components. In these collisions, they find not simplicity, but abundance. Particles that flicker into being, vanish, and reappear. Forces that trade carriers like invisible messengers. Probabilities that govern outcomes instead of certainties. And here again, the multiverse emerges. For some interpretations, quantum events don't just decide a single result. They allow all possible results, each realized in its own branch of reality. When you flip a coin, in one world it lands heads, in another tails. Both are real, both unfold. This idea unsettles our intuition. We want the universe to be singular, crisp, easy to define. But perhaps reality is layered, like a prism splitting white light into countless colors. Each ray exists, each ray is real, even if only one enters our eye at a time. The most daring theories even suggest that black holes, those cosmic maws where gravity crushes matter and bends time, could act as bridges to other universes. Inside the event horizon, where no signal can escape, the laws of physics as we know them break down. Some physicists propose that what falls into a black hole might not be destroyed, but instead funneled into another cosmos, a place entirely disconnected from our own. In that picture, every black hole in our universe could be the seed of another, each carrying the information of stars and planets into a new creation. If this is true, then universes do not just exist side by side like bubbles. They could be chained together, each one giving birth to the next, in an eternal cycle of creation. The death of a star here could be the spark of a universe elsewhere. Reality would not be static, but generative, a cosmic forest always sprouting new trees. Philosophers and scientists alike wrestle with what this means. For some, the multiverse is too extravagant, too unprovable, an escape hatch invented by equations that have wandered too far. For others, it is the natural consequence of mathematics we already trust. After all, the laws that describe atoms and galaxies have consistently revealed deeper truths than our senses alone can grasp. To dismiss the multiverse simply because it feels strange would be to ignore the long history of science, where today's impossibility becomes tomorrow's reality. Consider this: before the telescope, the idea of countless galaxies was inconceivable. Before the microscope, the existence of a hidden microbial world was unimaginable. Reality has never stopped at the edge of our vision. Why should the universe be the exception? Even so, the multiverse forces us to think carefully about evidence. If other universes are sealed from us, how could we ever know they exist? Here lies the challenge. Some scientists search for cosmic fingerprints, subtle patterns in the background radiation left from the Big Bang, tiny distortions that could hint at collisions between our universe and others. Others look to mathematical consistency. If a theory that predicts the multiverse also explains phenomena we can measure, then perhaps its unseen predictions deserve to be taken seriously. Science, after all, has always balanced between what is visible and what is inferred. And then there is us, human beings, fragile and finite, daring to imagine infinities. The multiverse might seem remote, abstract, irrelevant to daily life, but it touches on the deepest questions we can ask. If countless universes exist, then our own is not inevitable. It is one roll of cosmic dice among endless outcomes. That means life, consciousness, the very fact that you are here listening, is not guaranteed. It is precious. It is rare. And perhaps that realization is the true gift of contemplating parallel worlds. Not to escape our universe, but to cherish it more fully. Because even if there are infinite realities, this one, the one where Earth orbits the sun, where humans build telescopes and dream of the stars, is the one we get to call home. To speak of parallel universes is to walk along the boundary between what is known and what can only be imagined. Yet imagination, when guided by mathematics and evidence, has often led us to truths more astonishing than myth. Once, humanity imagined gods moving the sun across the sky. Today, we know the sun is a star powered by nuclear fusion, a furnace so stable it has burned for billions of years. Our capacity to reimagine reality is the very tool that keeps expanding it. One of the strangest roads to the multiverse begins with something called fine-tuning. Physicists have long marveled that the constants of nature, the strength of gravity, the charge of the electron, the speed of light, are set with uncanny precision. Alter them even slightly, and the universe would not permit stars, planets, or life. If gravity were stronger, the cosmos might collapse in on itself before galaxies could form. If it were weaker, matter might never have clumped into stars at all. It seems improbable, almost suspicious, that the numbers line up so neatly. The multiverse provides one possible answer. If countless universes exist, each with its own physical laws, then it is not surprising that at least one of them has the right conditions for life. We should not marvel that ours does, we should expect it, because only in such a universe could beings exist to ask the question. This line of reasoning is called the anthropic principle. We observe the universe as it is because only such a universe permits observers like us. It is not proof, but it is a perspective, a way of turning coincidence into context. String theory adds another layer. By describing particles as tiny vibrating loops of energy, string theory allows for a staggering number of possible configurations, what physicists call the landscape of solutions. The number is so vast, it may exceed the count of atoms in our universe. Each solution could correspond to a different universe with unique laws of physics. To some, this is an elegant unification of the multiverse idea. To others, it feels like a surrender, a proliferation of possibilities so immense that prediction becomes impossible. But whether elegant or unsettling, the landscape reminds us that reality may be richer than any single cosmos. And then there is mathematics itself. Equations often hint at truths before we can test them. Einstein's general relativity predicted black holes decades before we found evidence they existed. Paul Dirac's equations foretold the positron before it was observed. Could the equations whispering of other universes be another prophecy? Science is full of such moments, when math saw further than our eyes. The multiverse also intersects with time in ways that challenge our deepest intuitions. We tend to think of time as a single arrow moving forward, never back. But in some models, time itself could differ across universes. There might be realms where time flows slower, faster, or in loops we cannot imagine. Perhaps there are universes where entropy runs in reverse, where order increases instead of decaying. To us, that would feel like watching shattered glass leap back into wholeness, smoke curling back into the flame. If such realities exist, they may not only look alien, but feel alien, violating the rhythm by which we measure existence. Even in our own universe, time is not absolute. Einstein showed us that it bends and stretches with gravity and motion. Astronauts orbiting Earth experience time slightly slower than people on the ground. The difference is tiny, but real, measurable with atomic clocks. If such relativity exists here, why not in other universes with other rules entirely? Parallel universes also echo in the study of consciousness. Though speculative, some philosophers and physicists wonder if the mind itself might be entangled with quantum processes. If each quantum choice branches into different realities, then perhaps each version of you experiences one path, each believing itself to be the original. Consciousness, then, could be like a spotlight illuminating one strand of an infinite web. The mind would not create universes, but it might be the witness through which one becomes real. And what of the boundaries between these worlds? If they exist, are they truly impermeable? Some scientists search for cosmic bruises, faint scars in the afterglow of the Big Bang, where our universe might have collided with another. Others suggest that certain high-energy events, like cosmic strings snapping in space-time, could briefly connect realms. These ideas remain untested, perhaps untestable. Yet the search continues because the prize, evidence of another universe, would be the most profound discovery in history. Still, even without proof, the concept reshapes how we see ourselves. The multiverse is not just a physical idea. It is a philosophical earthquake. It suggests that our reality, as immense and ancient as it seems, may not be the whole story. It humbles us, reminding us that every triumph, every heartbreak, every civilization may be but a footnote in a library without end. And yet, within that humility lies a strange magnificence. For even if we are one among countless, the fact that we can ponder such questions makes us luminous. In the theater of existence, awareness itself is a miracle. So, when you gaze at the night sky, remember, you may not be looking at the universe. You may only be looking at our universe. Beyond the dark, beyond the horizon, there could be countless others, silent and unreachable, waiting for their stories to be told. Every great scientific leap begins with a question that sounds unreasonable. Can Earth really move around the sun? Can invisible germs cause disease? Can time itself bend and stretch? Ideas once dismissed as fantasy became pillars of our understanding. The notion of parallel universes belongs to this tradition of bold questions. It may seem outlandish now, but so did the idea that space is curved, or that the universe began with a bang. To grasp the possibility of multiple universes, think of the cosmos not as a stage, but as a computation. The laws of physics are algorithms, instructions that shape the behavior of matter and energy. Change those instructions even slightly, and the output, the universe itself, is different. What we experience may be just one version of the program, one execution among countless others running on the grand processor of reality. In some speculative models, universes may be as numerous as waves on an endless ocean. Each wave rises and falls, some colliding, others passing in silence, all driven by deeper currents. Ours is one such wave, magnificent and fragile, breaking into foam that will one day vanish. But the sea itself, the multiverse, endures, never still, never complete. The physics of the very early universe also whispers of hidden realities. At the Planck scale, a realm smaller than atoms, smaller than the particles inside atoms, space and time become foamy, jittering with fluctuations. This quantum foam may not be empty at all, but fertile ground from which entire universes can spring. In this view, universes are not exceptions, but inevitabilities, constantly budding off from the underlying fabric of existence. And then there is symmetry, one of nature's favorite patterns. At every level, from snowflakes to galaxies, symmetry appears. Physics, too, is built on symmetries. The laws of motion are the same here as on the moon, the same today as a billion years ago. But when symmetries break, new forms emerge. Water freezing into ice loses fluid symmetry and gains crystalline order. In the earliest universe, as symmetries shattered, forces and particles differentiated. Some physicists believe that these breakings could spawn separate universes, each with its own version of broken symmetry, each following different rules. One can even imagine universes woven together not by space, but by possibility. In mathematics, solutions often exist in families, countless variations on an equation, all valid. If nature follows this principle, then reality may not settle for one solution. It may realize them all, each expressed as a distinct cosmos. Our universe would then be like a single melody in an infinite symphony, resonant but not alone. Black holes offer yet another doorway. These objects are reminders that our knowledge has edges. When matter collapses beyond comprehension, when singularities form, the very laws we trust unravel. Some theories suggest that what lies beyond the event horizon is not destruction, but transition, a gateway to a new universe with its own space and time. In such a scenario, every black hole could be a womb of creation, birthing daughter universes. We may be living inside one ourselves, descendants of a cosmic lineage stretching back through unimaginable generations. But what of evidence? This is where science meets philosophy. Without testability, an idea remains speculation. Yet speculation guided by mathematics has proven invaluable before. Maxwell's equations predicted radio waves decades before Marconi built antennas to detect them. Could the multiverse one day move from speculation to observation? Perhaps faint gravitational ripples or anomalies in the cosmic microwave background will reveal the fingerprints of other universes. Perhaps quantum computers, probing deeper into the fabric of probability, will uncover patterns pointing beyond our world. Even if we never find proof, the very act of considering the multiverse alters our perspective. It challenges the idea that reality must be singular, that what we see is all that exists. It asks us to be humble, to accept that the universe is under no obligation to conform to our expectations. And humility has always been the gift of science. When Copernicus showed that Earth was not the center, humanity had to let go of cherished illusions. When Darwin revealed that humans are kin to all life, we had to rethink our uniqueness. The multiverse may demand a similar leap, one that expands our imagination beyond anything we have ever dared. For if parallel universes exist, then the story of reality is not a single line but an endless tapestry. Threads cross and diverge, weaving countless narratives. Somewhere in that weave, there is us, not because we were destined, but because in the immensity of possibility, even improbable stories are written. So when we search the skies, we may not just be seeking stars and galaxies. We may be straining to glimpse the edges of our own bubble, to sense the faint vibrations of a grander cosmic song. And though we may never hear it directly, the very act of listening binds us to the mystery, reminding us that reality is always larger than our grasp. There is a paradox at the heart of human curiosity. The more we learn, the more we realize how little we know. We map the stars, measure the age of the universe, detect the faint hiss of radiation from the dawn of time. Yet at the edge of every discovery lies a horizon we cannot cross. The multiverse belongs to that horizon. It is an idea born not of fantasy, but of necessity, whispered by the very equations we use to describe our world. One clue comes from the mysterious energy that dominates our universe: dark energy. This invisible force pushes galaxies apart, accelerating the expansion of space. We don't know why it exists or why its strength has the value it does. But if universes come in countless variations, each with its own dark energy, then we find ourselves in the one where the numbers permit galaxies and life. In universes with too much dark energy, matter would scatter too quickly for stars to form. With too little, the cosmos might collapse before it ever began. Our existence may be balanced on a knife's edge, sharpened across infinities. Another clue arises from quantum fields, invisible seas that permeate all of space. Particles are not isolated dots but excitations in these fields, like ripples on a pond. The famous Higgs field gives mass to particles, ensuring that matter can clump into atoms. But physicists suspect there may be many such fields, each with potential to settle into different states. If so, universes could be born with distinct sets of particles and forces, depending on how those fields crystallize. Our cosmos, with its familiar chemistry and physics, may be only one arrangement among countless others. Even mathematics points toward multiplicity. Consider equations that allow multiple valid outcomes. For example, the solutions to a quadratic equation come in pairs. In the same way, the equations of the cosmos may yield not one universe, but many. We happen to inhabit one solution, but the rest may exist as well, no less real, simply inaccessible. Reality may be mathematical abundance expressed as physical diversity. The multiverse is not only a playground for physics. It reverberates through philosophy and culture. For centuries, myths have spoken of hidden realms, heavens and underworlds, mirror worlds just beyond reach. Perhaps these stories were not literal, but they expressed a deep intuition that what we see is not all that exists. Today, science gives that intuition form, not in poetry but in equations, not in myth but in models. Yet the all remains the same. And what of destiny in a multiverse? If every possibility unfolds somewhere, then fate takes on a strange new meaning. The path you walk here is not predetermined, it is chosen in this universe. But in another, you chose differently. In another still, circumstances changed beyond recognition. Does that diminish your freedom or magnify it? Perhaps the truth lies in perspective. That meaning arises not from being unique across all reality, but from living authentically in this one. Technology may one day sharpen our vision. Already, instruments like the James Webb Space Telescope peer deeper into cosmic time, unraveling the birth of galaxies. Gravitational wave observatories listen to ripples in space-time from colliding black holes. Quantum computers simulate patterns once impossible to calculate. Each advance brings us closer to glimpsing whether our universe is alone or part of a grander whole. The answers may not come tomorrow or even in this century, but history shows that mysteries once thought eternal eventually yield to inquiry. Consider how we once believed the stars were fixed points of light. Now we know they are suns, some with planets, some with worlds that may harbor life. The leap from Earth to galaxy was vast, and yet we made it. The leap from universe to multiverse may be greater still, but why assume it is beyond us? And even if evidence forever eludes us, the idea reshapes our imagination. It reminds us that reality does not end with the limits of our senses, that beyond the veil of stars, there may be structures stranger than fiction, symmetries beyond symmetry, and skies we will never see. To ponder the multiverse is to accept that existence is not tidy, not simple, not confined to one stage. It is to embrace a cosmos of boundless creativity, where reality itself may be the most prolific artist, painting infinite canvases with laws and histories. And we, brief sparks of consciousness on one tiny world, are the fortunate witnesses, able to wonder, able to dream, able to ask, what if? To speak of parallel universes is to stretch the imagination beyond comfort. And yet, science has always thrived at the edge of discomfort. There was a time when it was unthinkable that Earth could be round, or that invisible atoms could compose all matter, or that time could slow down with speed. The multiverse may be the next horizon, unsettling and audacious, yet demanded by the logic of our theories. One of the deepest puzzles in physics is entropy, the measure of disorder. The second law of thermodynamics tells us that entropy always increases. Glass shatters, never reassembles. Smoke disperses, never recoalesces. This one-way march defines the arrow of time. Yet why should the universe begin in such low entropy, such astonishing order in the first place? Some physicists propose that the multiverse holds the answer. If countless universes exist, some will begin in chaos, others in order. We happen to inhabit one of the rare branches where entropy started low, enabling complexity, galaxies, and life. In that sense, time itself may be a local feature, not a universal law, a rhythm unique to our cosmos. In other universes, time might flow differently or not at all. Consider the possibility of universes where entropy decreases. To us, that would feel like a film run in reverse. Stars would assemble from gas, rather than dissipate. Beings, if they could exist, would perceive memory not as a record of the past, but as a record of the future. What would it mean to live in such a reality? Could choice exist if the future, not the past, defined the flow of information? These are not idle games. They are reflections of the strange flexibility of the laws we hold sacred. Parallel universes also touch the question of simulation, the idea that reality itself may be coded like a cosmic program. Philosopher Nick Bostrom argued that if advanced civilizations acquire the ability to simulate entire universes, they might create many such simulations. If so, the odds that we live in the base universe shrink. Perhaps we are lines of code inside a cosmic computer, our physics the rules of its software. And if that is true, the multiverse could be digital, with countless simulated realities branching from an original. While unsettling, this idea is a cousin to the multiverse. Both suggest that what we perceive as all there is only a fragment of a grander reality. Skeptics argue that without evidence, such speculations are metaphysics. And they are right to a point. Science must remain grounded in testable predictions. But history warns against dismissing ideas too quickly. Quantum mechanics itself began as an untestable mathematical trick, yet now it underpins lasers, electronics, and medical imaging. The boundary between speculation and science is porous, shifting with each new discovery. The multiverse may stand today where quantum theory once stood, a radical possibility awaiting its test. And what of the role of the observer? Quantum theory reveals that the act of measurement affects outcomes. The famous double-slit experiment shows that particles behave like waves until observed, at which point they choose a definite state. Some interpretations suggest that all outcomes occur, each in a separate universe. If so, then observation does not collapse probability, but branches reality. Every choice we make, every photon measured, may be spawning countless parallel timelines. The observer is not passive, but a participant in the creation of worlds. This view forces us to reconsider identity. Who are you in a multiverse? If there are infinite versions, each making every possible choice, is your identity singular or spread across realities? Perhaps identity is not defined by uniqueness, but by perspective. In this branch, you are the one experiencing this life. That alone gives it meaning, regardless of what other versions may do. The multiverse also challenges the notion of finality. In a single universe, the story has one ending. Stars burn out, galaxies fade, heat death ensues. But in a multiverse, endings are beginnings elsewhere. A collapsing cosmos here could spark an inflating cosmos there. Reality would be a cycle, an eternal fountain, never exhausted. Death and birth would lose their sharpness, becoming transitions in a larger pattern. And then there is the possibility of interaction. If universes are sealed, then they remain philosophical curiosities. But if they can touch, however faintly, the consequences are staggering. Imagine gravitational leakage from one universe to another, detectable as anomalies in cosmic structure. Imagine high-energy collisions in the early cosmos that left imprints, circles, scars, or asymmetries in the cosmic microwave background. Some researchers already search for such fingerprints. None have been confirmed, but the pursuit itself pushes technology, sharpens methods, and teaches us more about our own universe. Even culture feels the pull of the multiverse. Science fiction has long explored parallel realities, from mirror worlds to alternate histories. These stories resonate because they echo something primal, the desire to ask, what if? What if history had taken a different turn? What if I had made another choice? The multiverse externalizes that yearning, making imagination not just fantasy, but a possible description of reality. In this way, science and story intertwine, each feeding the other's creativity. Yet for all its grandeur, the multiverse does not diminish the significance of our world. In fact, it amplifies it. To know that infinite possibilities may exist only sharpens the miracle that this one does. Out of uncountable realities, we are here, on a small planet orbiting an ordinary star, aware enough to question the whole. That awareness, fragile, fleeting, yet luminous, is itself a kind of evidence. It tells us that the cosmos is not indifferent to consciousness, for consciousness is part of it. In the end, the multiverse may or may not exist. The equations may be right or wrong. Evidence may come, or it may forever elude us. But the act of contemplating it expands us. It stretches our imagination, teaches us humility, and anchors us in awe. The universe or multiverse does not owe us clarity, but it gives us the gift of wonder, and that, perhaps, is the most human truth of all. So when you stand beneath the night sky, remember, every star is a possibility, every photon a message, every breath a reminder that you belong to something vast. Whether that vastness is one universe or many, it is enough to fill a lifetime with wonder. The night sky is a tapestry, but one woven with holes. We see stars, galaxies, clusters, yet what we see is only a fraction of what exists. Most of the universe is hidden. Astronomers estimate that nearly 95% of the cosmos is made not of the matter and energy we know, but of something else: dark matter and dark energy. These unseen ingredients shape the structure and fate of the universe. Without dark matter, galaxies would fly apart. Without dark energy, expansion would falter or collapse. And here, again, the multiverse whispers. Could dark matter and dark energy be shadows of other universes, their gravity bleeding across the divide? Could what we call dark be light elsewhere, the normal stuff of a neighboring cosmos brushing against ours? It is speculation, yes, but speculation rooted in the very mystery of our existence. For if our universe is so incomplete to our senses, why assume it is complete in itself? Keen minds have long sought a unification, a single theory that joins the very large and the very small, general relativity and quantum mechanics. We have Einstein's description of gravity, elegant and sweeping, and the quantum description of particles, precise and powerful. Yet the two refuse to merge. At black holes and the Big Bang, both are needed, yet both break down. A theory of quantum gravity is required, and in its equations may lie the keys to the multiverse. Consider loop quantum gravity, which imagines spacetime itself as discrete, woven of tiny loops. In this vision, the Big Bang was not a beginning but a bounce, the rebirth of a universe from the collapse of a previous one. If universes can bounce, then they can multiply. Each collapse and rebirth could reset the laws, shifting constants, birthing fresh realities. Time itself would not begin or end, but ripple endlessly through cycles of universes. Or take string theory and its cousin M-theory. They suggest that our universe may be a membrane, a brain, floating in higher dimensions. Parallel brains could exist nearby, invisible but real, like sheets of paper stacked in a higher dimensional book. If two brains collide, the impact could resemble a Big Bang, igniting a new universe. In this framework, universes are not rare. They are inevitable part of the geometry of higher dimensional space. These are not the musings of dreamers alone. They are attempts to solve problems forced upon us by nature. Why does gravity appear so weak compared to the other forces? Why do the constants of physics take the values they do? Why is the universe flat, homogeneous, yet sprinkled with just the right fluctuations to form stars? Each question drives us toward models where many universes, not one, are the natural outcome. Yet the multiverse raises an uncomfortable question. If everything happens somewhere, how do we test it? Traditional science thrives on falsifiability, the ability to prove an idea wrong. If other universes are unreachable, sealed forever beyond observation, are they science or philosophy? Some argue that a theory predicting unobservable realities is not science. Others counter that if those predictions emerge from equations that also explain what we can observe, then we cannot ignore them. After all, we cannot observe quarks directly, Yet we accept their existence because the mathematics that predicts them is confirmed in countless experiments. Perhaps the multiverse will never be seen directly, but inferred, as so many truths have been. We may never touch another universe, but we might detect its fingerprints, patterns in cosmic radiation, anomalies in gravitational waves, or unexplained features of dark matter. We might build machines that simulate conditions close to the Big Bang, teasing out hints of universes beyond. But even if no proof arrives, the concept itself transforms us. It forces us to imagine existence as a spectrum, not a singularity. It teaches us that humility is not weakness but wisdom. To believe the universe is all there is may be comforting, but it may also be naive. Humanity has faced such humblings before. When Copernicus moved Earth from the center, pride gave way to perspective. When Darwin showed our kinship with all life, we saw ourselves not as separate, but connected. The multiverse may demand a similar surrender. The recognition that even our cosmos is not unique, that infinity stretches beyond infinity. And what of consciousness in such a reality? If universes abound, then perhaps consciousness is not confined to one set of laws. Perhaps minds too bloom wherever conditions allow, in forms we cannot imagine. The multiverse, far from making us small, may reveal us as part of a vast chorus of awareness. Each universe may be a stage where matter organizes into thought and thought into wonder. We may never hear the voices of those other realms, but to know they could exist is itself profound. The future of cosmology may belong to those willing to embrace this vastness. Telescopes will grow sharper, peering deeper into cosmic dawn. Particle accelerators may uncover hidden dimensions. Quantum computers may model realities once beyond calculation. Each advance will test the boundaries of the possible. Perhaps we will never prove the multiverse. Perhaps we will stumble upon evidence by accident. Either way, the pursuit itself enriches us, because science is not only about answers. It is about the courage to ask questions that seem absurd, the willingness to follow curiosity even when it threatens our sense of order. The multiverse may be the most audacious question of all, but history shows that audacity is often the path to truth. And even if we remain forever confined to this one universe, the idea of others makes this one more precious. It sharpens our appreciation of life, of time, of each moment. For in the ocean of possibilities, we are here, now, alive in a universe that allows awareness. That is not nothing. That is everything. So the next time you look at the night sky, remember, you are not just looking at stars. You are looking at a mystery deeper than galaxies, deeper than time itself. You are looking at a universe that may be one of many, and in that possibility lies both humility and wonder. When we gaze into the universe, we are not simply collecting data. We are asking questions written in starlight, translated into the language of human wonder. And sometimes those questions point beyond what our instruments can see. The multiverse is one of those questions. It is the possibility that what we call the universe is not the final frame, but only a single brushstroke in an infinite mural of existence. To consider such an idea is to stretch science toward its poetic edge. It is to ask not only what is true, but what could be true. And the possibilities are as varied as imagination itself. Let us begin with the role of life. For centuries, humanity assumed life was central, perhaps unique, a singular event in a singular cosmos. But the discovery of exoplanets shattered that assumption. Thousands of worlds have been cataloged, some rocky like Earth, some gas giants larger than Jupiter, some orbiting suns stranger than fiction. The odds suggest life may not be confined to our planet. If life can appear here under modest conditions, it may appear elsewhere too. Now extend that logic to the multiverse. If countless universes exist, each with their own laws, then life may not be a rarity but a universal pattern, appearing wherever conditions align. Some universes may be barren, sterile deserts of physics. Others may flourish with unimaginable diversity, forms of life not based on carbon or water, but on elements and chemistries unknown to us. In such a grand view, consciousness is not an accident, but a recurring theme in the cosmic symphony. This raises a startling idea. What if the universe is tuned not simply to allow life, but to generate it? Some scientists suggest that consciousness itself may play a role in shaping reality. Quantum theory hints that observation is fundamental, that without measurement, probability rules. Could it be that awareness is not a byproduct, but a participant in the unfolding of the cosmos? In a multiverse, each act of observation might not collapse possibilities, but give rise to new branches. Consciousness, then, is not just in the universe, it may be one of the ways universes exist. The interplay between life and the cosmos becomes even more intricate when we consider evolution. On Earth, natural selection carved complexity from simplicity, mind from matter. But in the multiverse, evolution could operate on a grander scale. Some theorists propose cosmological natural selection. Universes that spawn black holes give rise to daughter universes, and those that are good at producing black holes proliferate. In this scenario, universes evolve like living systems, with traits that favor reproduction passing on. It is speculation, yes, but speculation that reframes the cosmos as not just passive, but active, adapting, and diversifying. If universes can evolve, then perhaps consciousness itself is part of the feedback loop. Intelligent beings may one day create simulations so detailed they give rise to awareness within. In doing so, they add new layers to the multiverse. What begins as physics leads to life, which leads to minds, which leads to the creation of new realities. The chain is recursive, spiraling outward in infinite creativity. And what of our role in this vast unfolding? We are late arrivals in cosmic history, sparks lit in the final seconds of a 13.8 billion-year story. Yet awareness changes everything. The universe existed before us, but without us, it did not know it existed. We are the universe becoming conscious of itself, and in contemplating the multiverse, we are reality questioning its own depth. The future of astronomy will only sharpen these questions. The James Webb Space Telescope has already revealed galaxies older than expected, forcing us to rethink cosmic dawn. Upcoming observatories, the Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope, the extremely large telescope in Chile, the Square Kilometer Array in radio astronomy, will probe deeper, mapping the cosmos with unprecedented precision. Gravitational wave detectors will eavesdrop on cataclysms across billions of light years, perhaps catching signals from events beyond our universe. Quantum experiments may push into realms where classical intuition fails, forcing us closer to the threshold of parallel realities. And yet, no matter how advanced our instruments become, imagination will always run ahead. We cannot help but picture universes where stars are made not of hydrogen and helium, but of exotic particles unknown to us. We cannot resist wondering about universes where space has more dimensions, where geometry itself is alien, where beings might move in ways that defy our physics. Imagination, disciplined by science, is our compass in the dark. The cultural resonance of the multiverse is profound. Across art, literature, and film, the idea of alternate realities has become a mirror for human yearning. We dream of lives we did not live, paths not taken, histories rewritten. The multiverse gives these dreams a strange legitimacy. They are not only stories, but perhaps reflections of possibilities as real as our own. And this touches something deeply human: regret and hope. If other universes exist, then somewhere, every regret is undone, every hope fulfilled. But rather than diminish this life, that idea magnifies it. For of all the infinite branches, this is the one where you are present, breathing, thinking, loving. The existence of countless other roads does not erase this one. It makes it rarer still. Philosophers caution us, though, not to mistake possibility for proof. The multiverse remains unverified, but its power lies not only in whether it is true, but in how it reshapes our vision. It humbles us, reminding us that reality is under no obligation to fit within our comfort. It challenges us, pushing science to ask bigger, braver questions. And it consoles us, offering a vision of existence where endings are never final, where creation is never complete. As we stand at this frontier, we must recognize the limits of language. Words like infinite, eternal, parallel are tools, but crude ones, trying to capture something beyond comprehension. Our minds evolved to navigate rivers and forests, not to map multiverses. Yet here we are, daring to do just that. The very act of trying is a triumph, proof that curiosity is stronger than fear. So let us embrace the uncertainty. Let us admit that we may never know for sure, and still find joy in the question. For science is not a catalog of answers, but a journey of wonder. The multiverse may remain forever just beyond reach, but its reflection in our imagination is real and powerful and beautiful. And perhaps that is the point. Whether or not parallel universes exist, the idea teaches us something vital. That reality is richer than we see, that possibilities are endless, and that to be alive in any universe is a miracle beyond measure. So the next time you close your eyes beneath the stars, imagine that you are not only in one universe, but in one of many, a single verse in an infinite poem. And take comfort in this. The poem is still being written, and you are part of its song. The story of humanity is the story of expansion. From caves to cities, from continents to planets, from the visible horizon to the cosmic abyss, we have always pushed outward. Our curiosity is relentless, our hunger for meaning insatiable. And yet, as vast as the universe seems, the idea of a multiverse suggests that our journey has only just begun. For if parallel universes exist, then even as we explore stars and galaxies, we are still confined to a single chapter of an endless library. What would it mean for humanity to live with such knowledge? At first, it may feel overwhelming to realize that even the cosmos is not unique, that our universe is one among countless others, seems to strip us of significance. But significance is not given by scale. It is given by perspective. The size of the stage does not diminish the importance of the play. It magnifies its poignancy. That we exist in this corner of reality, fleeting but aware, is meaning enough. Yet the multiverse challenges us to dream bigger. Colonizing other planets is already an audacious vision, one that requires courage, technology, and centuries of effort. But colonizing other universes, that is the horizon beyond imagination. If parallel realities are forever sealed, then they remain a philosophical backdrop. But if some future technology, some manipulation of dimensions or quantum entanglement, could bridge the gap, then humanity's destiny may not be limited to one cosmos. We might one day step not only between stars but between realities. For now, we begin humbly. We send probes to the outer planets, rovers to Mars, telescopes to orbit. Each mission whispers that we are not content with what we know. Each discovery deepens the mystery. When Voyager turned its camera back toward Earth and revealed the pale blue dot suspended in darkness, Carl Sagan reminded us of our fragility. But he also reminded us of our potential. The multiverse extends that lesson to infinity. If countless universes exist, then our smallness is absolute. But so is our ability to wonder, to love, to seek. Philosophy, too, bends under the weight of the multiverse. For centuries, people sought immortality in heaven, in reincarnation, in memory. But in a multiverse, immortality takes a different form. If infinite universes exist, then versions of us exist too, versions where we lived longer, chose differently, thrived or failed in ways unimaginable. To some, this is unsettling, eroding the uniqueness of identity. To others, it is consoling, suggesting that no possibility is truly lost. Somewhere, every life continues. Somewhere, every story unfolds. But immortality in the multiverse is not about escaping death. It is about embracing the fullness of existence. This life, in this universe, remains irreplaceable. Knowing there may be others does not cheapen it, it sanctifies it. For of all possible realities, we live here, now in this fragile moment, aware of its preciousness. The boundaries of human perception also shape how we engage with the idea of parallel universes. Our senses evolved to detect what was necessary for survival. Light in a narrow band, sound in a limited range, motion at a certain scale. Science extends those senses, radio waves, X-rays, neutrinos, gravitational waves. But even then, we are blind to most of what exists. The multiverse pushes this blindness further. It asks us to accept that reality may stretch far beyond the reach of even our most advanced instruments. This humility is not defeat. It is liberation. It frees us from the illusion that our knowledge must be complete. It allows us to marvel without possession, to stand in awe without mastery. And in that awe lies the essence of science, the willingness to remain a student of the cosmos, forever learning, forever reaching. The future may bring revelations that make today's speculation seem quaint. Just as ancient people once imagined gods driving chariots of fire across the sky, our visions of the multiverse may be crude compared to what future minds will conceive. Perhaps quantum computers will simulate entire universes, allowing us to test the physics of realities we cannot reach. Perhaps gravitational wave observatories will detect patterns that betray collisions with other universes. Perhaps none of this will come, and yet the search will still enrich us, for the act of seeking is itself transformative. Even art and culture will evolve under the weight of such ideas. Already, the multiverse inspires stories of alternate histories and mirror selves. But beyond entertainment, it reshapes our philosophy. It teaches us that life is not defined by certainty but by possibility, that existence is not narrow but abundant, that we are not trapped in a single destiny but woven into a fabric of infinite outcomes. And perhaps that is the ultimate lesson, that in the face of infinity, what matters is not control, but wonder. We cannot choose the laws of physics. We cannot dictate whether other universes exist, but we can choose to marvel. We can choose to seek. We can choose to honor the mystery with our curiosity and our courage. One day, far in the future, humanity may no longer exist. Stars will fade, galaxies will scatter, entropy will claim our cosmos. But even then, in the grandest view, reality will not be done. Other universes may bloom, other laws may reign, other forms of life and thought may rise. The story never ends. And if the story never ends, then perhaps, in some profound sense, neither do we. So stand beneath the night sky and breathe deeply. Feel the weight of starlight that traveled billions of years to meet your eyes. Remember that you are not only a witness to the universe, but a participant in its unfolding. Whether or not parallel universes exist, you are alive in this one. And that, against all odds, is a miracle vast enough to rival infinity. The universe has always been both a question and an answer. Each time we reach a new frontier, we find not closure, but a doorway. And standing in those doorways, humanity has learned to ask braver questions. What lies beyond the stars? what lies beyond the edge of time, and now what lies beyond the universe itself. The multiverse is perhaps the boldest of those questions. It stretches the imagination to infinity, suggesting that what we call all of reality is only one verse in a cosmic poem. It invites us to picture countless other verses, written in laws not our own, histories not our own, and skies we will never see. In those imagined universes, light might bend differently, time might flow strangely, matter might take forms no human mind could picture. Some might burn too hot for life, others might remain forever cold. But if reality is infinite, then some universes will be like ours, places where stars form, planets orbit, and minds awaken to wonder. We may never travel there. The distances, the boundaries may be absolute, but impossibility has never silenced human curiosity. We asked about atoms before we could split them, about galaxies before we could see them, about time before we could measure it. The multiverse, even if unreachable, is still worth contemplating. For in the act of wondering, we grow. Think of what this idea does to our sense of place. Once, Earth was the center of everything. Then it became one planet among many. Then our sun became one star among billions in the galaxy. Then our galaxy became one among trillions. Each step humbled us, but also expanded us. The multiverse may be the next step, the realization that even the universe itself is not the end of the story. Yet humility is not despair. It is empowerment. To know we are small is not to know we are meaningless. For significance does not come from size, but from awareness. The multiverse may stretch to infinity, but the fact that we can ask about it, that a species on a pale blue dot can imagine beyond the visible, is extraordinary. There is also beauty in the possibility that existence is inexhaustible. If one universe ends, another may begin. If one cosmos is sterile, another may bloom with life. Creation may not be a singular event, but an eternal process. Reality may be the most prolific artist, painting endless canvases with stars, galaxies, and minds. And what of us, within this vastness? We are temporary, yes, but so is everything we know. Stasti. Galaxies collide. Universes expand into silence. Yet out of all of that impermanence arises awareness. And awareness is not trivial. It is the universe becoming conscious of itself. Every thought, every question, every act of wonder is reality folding back on itself, reflecting, knowing. This, perhaps, is our role in the multiverse, to witness, to turn matter into meaning, to transform starlight into thought. If countless universes exist, they may be silent without us. But here, in this one, the silence is broken by human voices, human minds, human dreams. That alone is cosmic. Science may one day confirm the multiverse, or it may not. Perhaps evidence will remain forever beyond our reach. But whether true or not, the idea changes us. It humbles our pride, expands our imagination, and deepens our awe. It shows us that the universe we know is not ordinary, it is miraculous. That out of infinite possibilities, this is the one we inhabit, the one where we are alive. And so, when we think of parallel universes, let us not lose ourselves in abstraction. Let us remember the value of this reality. Let us treasure the fragile beauty of Earth, the fleeting brilliance of human life, the wonder of consciousness itself. For even if there are infinite versions of us, this one is unrepeatable. This moment, in this universe, is ours alone. Perhaps the greatest lesson of the multiverse is not about physics, but about perspective. It teaches us that we are not the center, but we are not irrelevant. We are part of a grander story, one still being written, and our chapter, however small, matters. So the next time you stand beneath the stars, Think not only of the galaxies you see, but of the universes you cannot. Think of the possibilities beyond possibilities, and then return your gaze to the present, to Earth, to life, to the people around you. For of all the infinite realities that may exist, this is the one where you are here, and that is enough. Every age of humanity has carried with it a horizon, a boundary between the known and the unknown. For the first humans, the horizon was literal. The edge of the forest, the bend of a river, the line where the land met the sky. For ancient civilizations, it was the sea, feared and revered in equal measure, until sails and courage turned it into a path instead of a wall. For the modern age, the horizon became the stars, the galaxies, the structure of the universe itself. But what happens when even the universe is no longer the horizon? What happens when we dare to ask what lies beyond everything? That is the question of the multiverse. If the universe is all there is, then our story is contained, finite, eventually closed. But if the multiverse exists, then the stage widens beyond comprehension. Infinity becomes not a metaphor, but the canvas of reality. Infinity is a concept the human mind resists. We can count, we can measure, we can imagine great numbers, but infinity is not a number. It is endlessness itself. And yet, the multiverse demands we live with infinity, not as an abstraction, but as a fact. Endless universes, endless laws of physics, endless histories. Somewhere, everything that can happen does happen. And still, infinity is not exhausted. This is more than a thought experiment. It reshapes the very way we define existence. In a single universe, events are singular. In a multiverse, they are variations. Here, the Earth is blue and thriving. Elsewhere, it may be barren. Here, humanity rises. Elsewhere, it never appears. Here, you are you. Elsewhere, you are someone else entirely or never born at all. Such ideas can feel destabilizing, as though identity itself dissolves across branches of possibility. But perhaps identity is not threatened by infinity. Perhaps it is affirmed. For even if countless versions exist, this version is real. This life, these choices matter precisely because they are lived here, now, in this branch of reality. The multiverse does not erase meaning. It multiplies it. Science pursues these questions with tools as daring as the questions themselves. Gravitational wave detectors stretch across continents, listening for ripples in space-time that may carry whispers from the earliest moments of creation. Telescopes scan the cosmic microwave background, searching for patterns, scars, asymmetries, anomalies that might suggest collisions with other universes. Quantum experiments push the boundaries of probability, probing the edge where the very act of observation may fracture reality into countless outcomes. And in laboratories of thought, equations dance across chalkboards, models emerge in computer simulations, hypotheses stretch into the higher dimensions of string theory. Each approach is incomplete. Each raises more questions than it answers. But together, they weave a tapestry of curiosity, reminding us that science is not a final catalog of truth, but an ongoing dialogue with the unknown. The multiverse also asks us to confront time itself. We tend to imagine time as a straight line, an arrow pointing forward, unbroken. Yet some theories suggest time may branch, just as universes branch. The future is not singular, but a tree of possibilities, each branch realized in its own universe. Others imagine cycles with universes born, dying, and being reborn in endless succession. If so, time is not a river flowing one way, but an ocean with countless currents, eddies, and waves. And what of eternity? If infinite universes exist, then eternity is not only duration but abundance. Everything that can exist exists somewhere, somewhen. To live in such a reality is to live in a cosmos that cannot run out of possibility, cannot end in total silence, because silence itself is only one variation among endless songs. This vision changes how we think about the future of humanity. If we are confined to one universe, our destiny is bound to its fate. Stars will fade, galaxies will scatter, entropy will rise, and eventually all will be cold and dark. But in a multiverse, endings are not final. Each ending is simply the beginning of another universe, another story, another possibility. Humanity, or something like humanity, may emerge elsewhere, again and again, in forms beyond recognition. Our story becomes not a single thread but part of a cosmic fabric without edge. Yet, even in such immensity, the human scale remains sacred. We are finite beings living finite lives. Infinity may exist, but we live in moments. We wake, we love, we struggle, we hope. The multiverse does not change the fact that each heartbeat is unique, each life irreplaceable. In fact, it makes that uniqueness more poignant. Out of endless possibilities, this is the one we experience. Out of all universes, this is the one that holds us. Culture reflects this yearning. Stories of parallel lives, alternate histories, mirror worlds. They fascinate us because they resonate with something ancient in our psyche. We dream of other choices, other selves, other destinies. The multiverse takes those dreams and gives them a stage. It suggests that imagination is not only fantasy, but perhaps a glimpse into the possible. The boundary between science and myth blurs here. Ancient traditions spoke of layered heavens, hidden realms, cycles of creation and destruction. Modern physics, though different in method, echoes those intuitions with its equations of inflation, string landscapes, quantum branches. Perhaps myth was never wrong, only poetic, waiting for science to translate it into mathematics. But whether myth or model, the effect is the same: awe. And awe is the beginning of wisdom. To look at the night sky and feel both small and connected is to touch the essence of being human. To imagine other universes is to push that awe to its limit, to admit that reality is larger than we can grasp, but still within reach of our wonder. The conclusion, then, is not despair at our smallness, but joy at our awareness. The multiverse may or may not exist, but the fact that we can ask about it, think about it, imagine it, is a miracle in itself. The cosmos has given rise to creatures who can ponder beyond the cosmos. That alone is astonishing. So when you stand under the stars, remember, you are not only looking at galaxies billions of years old, you are looking at the possibility that even this vastness is only one drop in an endless ocean. You are looking at the horizon of horizons, the question beyond all questions. And in that gaze lies the most human thing of all, the courage to wonder. There are questions that exist not to be answered, but to change the way we see. The question of the multiverse may be one of them. Whether true or not, whether proven or forever unprovable, it alters the lens through which we view ourselves, our lives, and our place in reality. For millennia, humans have looked upward and outward, tracing constellations, charting seasons, navigating by the stars. The night sky has always been a mirror for our imagination. In the points of light above, we saw gods, myths, ancestors, destiny. Today, we see galaxies, black holes, quasars, but we also see questions as vast as the cosmos itself. And perhaps the boldest of them is this: what if what we see is not all that exists? Imagine existence as a book, boundless in length, its pages stretching forever. We live within one chapter. We read its words, we memorize its lines, we act out its story. But perhaps in the library of reality, there are countless other chapters, each with its own tale, its own laws, its own characters. We cannot turn the pages, but we can imagine them. And in that imagining, we expand the meaning of our own chapter. Science gives us reasons to suspect this might be true. The equations of quantum mechanics, the inflationary models of cosmology, the landscapes of string theory, all point to realities beyond the visible. But even without definitive proof, the concept resonates. It resonates because it touches something fundamental, the intuition that what we see is never the whole. Think of a horizon. It feels like the end of the world, yet when you walk toward it, the world expands. Every horizon reveals another horizon beyond it. The multiverse is the ultimate horizon, the suggestion that no matter how far we go, there is always more. This vision reshapes how we understand creation. Instead of a singular universe born from a singular Big Bang, we picture an eternal blossoming, universes budding endlessly from the quantum foam, branching endlessly from each choice, colliding and rebirthing in higher dimensions. Creation is not a moment, but a process without end. And we are not mere spectators, but participants, woven into its unfolding. It also reshapes how we think about meaning. In a single universe, meaning can feel fragile, temporary, threatened by death and entropy. But in a multiverse, meaning is abundance. Every life, every choice, every possibility is realized somewhere. To some, this makes life feel less precious. But to others, it makes it infinitely precious. For out of countless possibilities, this is the one you experience. This is the verse you inhabit in the grand cosmic poem. And what of culture? The multiverse has already seeped into our art, our literature, our cinema. It speaks to our longing for second chances, for alternate destinies, for lives unlived. It transforms regret into possibility, loss into perspective. It does not erase pain, but it frames it within abundance. Somewhere, perhaps the paths not taken unfold. And yet, that does not diminish the beauty of the path we walk. It sharpens it, makes it more luminous against the backdrop of infinity. Philosophy, too, bends under its weight. If all possibilities exist, then what of free will? Are we truly choosing, or are we simply inhabiting one branch of an inevitable tree? Perhaps both. Perhaps choice is real because we live it, even if other choices are real elsewhere. Meaning is not erased by multiplicity. It is amplified. The existence of other versions of you does not negate this version. It affirms it by showing that being is abundant, that existence is generous. And what of science itself? The multiverse challenges its very boundaries. Science is built on testability, on the ability to measure and verify. If parallel universes cannot be observed, are they science? Some say no, but history reminds us many truths were once beyond measurement. Atoms, germs, gravitational waves, all were invisible until instruments caught up with imagination. The multiverse may one day join that list, or it may remain forever beyond reach. But the act of asking is still science, because science is not only answers, it is questions. The future will decide how far we go. Telescopes will grow sharper, accelerators more powerful, equations more refined. Perhaps evidence will come. Perhaps it will not. Either way, the multiverse will continue to shape how we think, how we imagine, how we wonder. And in the end, that may be its greatest gift. Not proof, not certainty, but perspective. The perspective that we are not the center. The perspective that reality is richer than we can grasp. The perspective that to be alive, aware, questioning is itself miraculous. So let us return, for a moment, to the night sky. The stars above are not just points of light. They are fragments of time, billions of years old. They remind us that the universe is vast, ancient, mysterious. And yet, they also remind us of something else, that we are part of it, that the atoms in our bodies were forged in those stars, that our thoughts are woven from the same physics that shapes galaxies. If the multiverse exists, then this connection is even deeper. We are not only children of this universe. We are children of reality itself, in all its abundance. We belong not just to one cosmos, but to existence in its entirety. And existence is generous enough to allow awareness, wonder, love. Perhaps that is the final word. The multiverse may never be proven, but it teaches us to cherish what is, to stand in awe of the mystery, to accept that we may never know everything, and to find joy in the not knowing. For to not know is to still be growing. To not know is to still be alive. So when you leave this thought, take with you this image. An endless library, infinite shelves, countless books. You hold one of them. Its pages are limited, its ending certain. But within those pages is a story unlike any other. Your story, our story, the story of this universe. And no matter how many other books exist, that story remains irreplaceable. The multiverse may be infinite, but so is the value of one life, one world, one universe. And that is enough to fill the silence of eternity with meaning. Art and science have always been siblings, born from the same impulse, the desire to understand and to express. One seeks truth through measurement, the other through metaphor. Both reach beyond the surface of reality, trying to grasp what cannot be fully seen. And when we speak of the multiverse, the boundary between them dissolves entirely. For what could be more artistic than imagining infinite realities? And what could be more scientific than admitting they may exist? In art, the multiverse has been with us for centuries. Every myth of other worlds, every story of heavens and underworlds, every painting of dreamscapes and impossible landscapes, all are echoes of this intuition, that what we experience is not the whole of existence. Ancient poets sang of parallel realms, shamans spoke of journeys between worlds, painters gave us visions of alternate realities. Today, filmmakers and novelists continue the tradition, giving us multiverses in stories that mirror our longings. Why does this idea resonate so deeply? Because it reflects the structure of memory and imagination themselves. Memory does not give us one singular past. It offers us fragments, variations, reconstructions. Imagination does not give us one singular future. It gives us possibilities, branches, what-ifs. In a sense, our own minds are multiverses, vast landscapes of paths we walked, paths we might have walked, paths we may yet walk. To dream of parallel universes is to dream outward what we already carry inward. Our lives are filled with roads not taken, choices made and unmade, identities imagined but never lived. The multiverse transforms those personal longings into cosmic scale, suggesting that somewhere they are real, that our imagination is not only fantasy, but perhaps resonance, an echo of infinity playing within us. This has profound consequences for how we think about meaning. In a finite universe, we search desperately for permanence, fearing that all will vanish. In an infinite multiverse, permanence is replaced by abundance. There is always more universes, more chances, more variations. But does this abundance cheapen meaning or enrich it? Here lies a paradox. If everything happens somewhere, then does anything matter here? Some fear that the multiverse dissolves significance, turning life into just one of endless copies. But the opposite may be true. Just as every brushstroke in a painting matters, even if there are countless canvases, so does every life matter, even if there are countless versions. The existence of other melodies does not erase this one. It makes the symphony fuller. And in this symphony, memory and art play vital roles. Memory anchors us in a timeline, reminding us who we are. Art expands us beyond it, reminding us who we could be. Both are survival tools, but also meaning tools. They give structure to our awareness in a cosmos too vast to contain in logic alone. When we imagine parallel universes, we are not escaping reality. We are interpreting it, making sense of its immensity through story and symbol. Science, too, requires imagination. Equations are precise, but the act of seeing what they imply is creative. When Einstein pictured himself riding a beam of light, he was engaging in artistic thought. When Dirac believed beauty in mathematics would reveal new particles, he was trusting aesthetic intuition. The multiverse may seem abstract, but its pursuit is fueled by the same human creativity that paints murals and composes symphonies. The boundary between disciplines blurs further when we consider that reality itself may be structured like art. Symmetry, pattern, rhythm, these are as present in physics as in music. The laws of motion have elegance, the constants of nature have balance. Perhaps the multiverse, if it exists, is not random chaos but a deeper aesthetic order, an infinite gallery where each universe is a unique expression of possibility. And what of memory within this grander frame? If universes branch with every choice, then memory is not only record but anchor. It is the thread that ties us to this version of reality. Without memory, we would drift unmoored in infinite variation. With memory, we claim this life as ours. And that makes memory sacred, not because it is permanent, but because it grounds us amid infinity. The multiverse also transforms how we view death. In a single universe, death feels absolute. In a multiverse, it is recontextualized. Somewhere, in some branch, life continues. Somewhere, possibilities unfold where we endure. This does not erase grief, nor should it, but it reframes loss as part of a larger abundance. Just as a star that dies in one place seeds life in another, so too might endings here be beginnings elsewhere. Art often anticipates such truths. Poets speak of immortality through verse, artists through image, composers through sound. These works survive not by defying death, but by creating echoes that ripple through minds and generations. In a multiverse, every echo might find a home. Every story might be real somewhere. The very act of expression becomes part of the fabric of infinite possibility. Perhaps that is the deepest link between art, memory, imagination, and the multiverse. All remind us that reality is not static, not singular. It is layered, abundant, resonant. To be human is to live at the crossroads of those layers, to hold infinity within a finite mind, to seek patterns in the immeasurable. And what do we do with this awareness? We create. We tell stories, we paint skies, we write equations, we sing. In each act, we reach beyond ourselves, beyond this moment, beyond this universe. We declare that existence is not only to be endured but celebrated. So perhaps the multiverse is not only a physical hypothesis. Perhaps it is also a metaphor for the human spirit, a reminder that possibility is endless, that meaning is not confined, that imagination is a form of participation in reality itself. Stand again beneath the stars. Let their light, older than history, fall upon your eyes. Imagine not only the galaxies you see, but the universes you cannot. And then look within, at the multiverse of your own mind, memories, dreams, identities, stories. See how they mirror each other, the cosmos without, the cosmos within, both infinite, both mysterious, both beautiful. And perhaps that is the final truth, that whether or not parallel universes exist, we already live among them, in memory, in imagination, in art, in love. That we, ourselves, are multiverses, vast beyond measure, contained in the fragile frame of a human life. Every civilization is defined by the stories it tells itself. Stories about origins, about destiny, about place in the cosmos. The ancients told of gods shaping the heavens, of spirits inhabiting the earth, of cycles of creation and destruction. Modern civilization tells stories shaped by science, of a universe born from fire, of galaxies and evolution, of the rise of consciousness. Each story redefines who we are. And now, the multiverse enters our imagination, daring to rewrite the story once more. If it is true, then our universe is not the singular stage of all existence, but one of many, a bubble in an infinite foam, a page in a library without end. The question is not only whether the multiverse exists, but how humanity will live with the idea. First, it will change our science. Already, the possibility of multiple universes reshapes our theories. It forces us to ask whether the laws of physics are inevitable or contingent. Are they written into reality itself, or are they local rules like dialects in an infinite language? If they are local, then universes may be laboratories of variation, each testing different laws, each unfolding different stories. Our own existence becomes a kind of evidence. We live in a universe that allows life, because only such universes produce beings capable of asking the question. This realization could transform how scientists search for meaning in the numbers. Instead of assuming the constants of nature must be uniquely determined, we may come to see them as one set among many. The fine-tuning of gravity, electromagnetism, the cosmological constant, all may be contextual, not universal. The search for a single theory of everything might give way to the search for a deeper framework, one that embraces multiplicity rather than erases it. Philosophy, too, will evolve. For centuries, thinkers have asked, why is there something rather than nothing? The multiverse reframes the question. Perhaps there is everything, and nothing is only the absence of perspective. Perhaps existence is not a singular miracle but a constant state, an inevitability, expressing itself in every possible form. This does not diminish wonder, it multiplies it. Instead of asking why we exist, we may come to ask, why not? In infinite possibility, some universes must give rise to minds, and we are one of them. Such thinking also reshapes ethics. If parallel universes exist, then in some, our choices unfold differently. Does that lessen the weight of our actions here? Or does it make them even more vital? Perhaps morality gains new depth in a multiverse. For though other versions of us may choose differently, this version, the one we live, defines who we are. We cannot hide behind infinite outcomes. We can only be responsible for this one. And that responsibility becomes sacred. Culturally, the multiverse may inspire new art, new stories, new philosophies of life. Already, our films and novels explore alternate realities, reflecting our fascination with choice and destiny. But as the science deepens, so too will the art. Painters may imagine alien geometries. Musicians may attempt to capture the sound of infinite variation. Poets may write of universes as lovers, touching only in brief collisions. The multiverse will not remain a scientific idea. It will seep into the soul of civilization, shaping our collective imagination. And what of religion? Some may see the multiverse as a challenge to faith, the idea that our universe is not unique, that creation is not singular. But others may see it as an expansion, a vision of divine creativity on a scale beyond comprehension. For what is infinite creation if not the ultimate expression of divinity? The multiverse need not diminish spiritual awe. It may amplify it, reminding us that reality is more mysterious and more generous than any single story can contain. As humanity matures, the multiverse could become a symbol of humility. No longer can we see ourselves as the center of all things, or even as participants in a single cosmic drama. Instead, we become citizens of infinity, part of a vast and endless whole. This humility is not defeat, it is liberation. It frees us from the burden of centrality and invites us into a deeper connection with reality. Practically, the multiverse may remain forever beyond our reach. We may never measure it, never travel it, never prove it with certainty. But even if it remains an idea, it still shapes us. The very act of imagining infinite realities expands the boundaries of human thought. It stretches our sense of possibility, teaches us to live with uncertainty, and trains us to find meaning not in absolutes but in perspective. And perspective is everything. To a child, the horizon seems like the end of the world. To a sailor, the horizon is a promise of new lands. To humanity, the universe once felt like the ultimate horizon. The multiverse turns even that into a doorway, reminding us that every end is a beginning, every boundary a threshold. So how should humanity live with this knowledge? Perhaps with gratitude. Gratitude that we are alive in any universe at all. Gratitude that our cosmos allows stars, planets, and consciousness. Gratitude that, out of infinity, we are here. For even if there are countless universes, none erase this one. None erase the fact that we exist, that we think, that we wonder. And perhaps with responsibility. For if existence is infinite, then meaning is not given by rarity, but by action. It is not enough to say that somewhere everything happens. What matters is what happens here, in this life, in this world. The multiverse does not absolve us of responsibility. It deepens it. It reminds us that this branch of reality is ours to shape, ours to honor, ours to protect. Imagine the future. Perhaps one day, humanity will travel among the stars, build civilizations on distant worlds, expand consciousness in ways we cannot now imagine. Perhaps one day, technology will probe the edges of universes, or even create new ones. But whether or not those futures come, the truth remains. Our journey is already cosmic. To wonder about the multiverse is itself an act of exploration, one that no spaceship could match. The story of civilization has always been a story of expanding circles. Family to tribe, tribe to nation, nation to planet, planet to cosmos. The multiverse is the next circle, vast beyond measure. To embrace it is to step into the largest story imaginable. And in that story, humanity plays its part not by mastering infinity, but by marveling at it. Not by controlling it, but by learning from it. Not by conquering it, but by finding joy in the simple fact that we belong to it. So when we ask about the multiverse, we are really asking about ourselves. Are we ready to accept that reality is endless? Are we ready to live with mystery, without needing closure? Are we ready to find meaning not in certainty, but in wonder? If we are, then the multiverse becomes not only a scientific hypothesis, but a philosophy of life. It teaches us to be humble, to be grateful, to be responsible, to be curious. It teaches us that existence is richer than we see, that possibility is inexhaustible, and that to be alive in any universe is a miracle beyond measure. And perhaps, in the end, that is the true significance of the multiverse. Not whether it exists, but how it changes us. Not whether we can prove it, but how it inspires us. Not whether it is real, but how it reminds us that we are real, here, now, in this moment, in this universe. The night sky stretches above, vast and silent. The stars are ancient, its distance is infinite. But when we look up, we do not see emptiness. We see mystery. We see possibility. We see ourselves reflected in the cosmos. And whether that cosmos is one or many, the wonder is the same. Because in the end, the greatest truth is not how many universes exist. The greatest truth is that we exist, and that we dare to ask. The history of human thought can be seen as a series of enlargements. First, we enlarged our map of Earth, discovering continents we never knew existed. Then we enlarged our sense of the sky, realizing that the wandering lights above were worlds, not lanterns. Later, we enlarged our concept of stars, learning they were suns, each perhaps with their own planets. We enlarged further still, recognizing galaxies beyond our own, stretching into trillions. And now we stand at the edge of yet another enlargement, the possibility that even our universe is but one among many. This enlargement is not just physical, it is philosophical. It challenges the way we think about beginnings and endings, about meaning and identity, about life and death. If there are infinite universes, then beginnings are everywhere, endings are never final, and meaning is not confined to one fragile thread but spread across a cosmic tapestry. What, then, becomes of humanity in such a vision? We remain what we have always been: seekers. From the first time firelight reflected in a curious eye, from the first time a question broke the silence of survival, we have been asking, what is beyond? The multiverse is simply the latest form of that question, a horizon pushed to infinity. To live with the idea of the multiverse is to accept that mystery is permanent. There may never be a final answer, a complete map, a finished story. But perhaps that is the point. Perhaps meaning is not in reaching the end, but in continuing the search. The journey itself becomes the destination, the act of wondering, the proof of purpose. Consider the paradox of knowledge. The more we learn, the more we realize how little we know. Each discovery opens new questions. The atom revealed subatomic particles. Those particles revealed quantum fields. Those fields may reveal universes. Knowledge is not a ladder with a top. It is a horizon that recedes as we approach. The multiverse may be the ultimate horizon, forever out of reach, yet forever guiding us forward. This has profound implications for how we live our lives. If reality is infinite, then nothing is wasted. Every act of kindness, every thought of love, every spark of creativity exists within the richness of possibility. If universes are endless, then so too is the canvas upon which meaning can be painted. We do not diminish ourselves by being one among many. We glorify ourselves by being part of infinity. It also reframes mortality. Death, in a single universe view, feels absolute. But in a multiverse, death is relative. Somewhere, a version of you survives. Somewhere, the story continues. This does not erase grief, but it softens the finality. It reminds us that existence is abundant, that nothing is ever truly lost in the totality of reality. And yet, it also reminds us that this life, this unique branch of the tree, is precious beyond measure. The multiverse invites us to imagine not just other worlds, but other humanities. Versions of us that made different choices, that built different civilizations, that discovered different sciences, that wrote different poems. It asks us to see ourselves not as singular, but as plural. And in doing so, it expands empathy. For if countless versions of us exist, then the boundaries of self blur. We are not only individuals, but variations on a theme of humanity, scattered across possibility. And what of civilization itself? The multiverse may become its next great myth. Not myth as falsehood, but myth as story, a framework of meaning that shapes culture. Just as past ages were defined by myths of gods and heavens, our age may be defined by myths of infinity and universes. These myths do not replace science. They are born from it. They give emotional form to abstract truths, helping societies live with the immensity of what science reveals. The arts will flourish under such inspiration. Music may attempt to capture the infinite, layering harmonies upon harmonies to suggest abundance without end. Literature may explore alternate lives, parallel histories, universes of thought. Visual art may try to represent geometries beyond our own, colors that exist only in imagined dimensions. The multiverse will not only be a subject of science, it will become a wellspring of creativity, fueling the human imagination for generations. Technology, too, will evolve under its influence. We may build simulations of universes, exploring the conditions under which stars form, galaxies assemble, life emerges. We may one day create artificial realities so detailed that consciousness arises within them, blurring the boundary between natural and made universes. In doing so, we become participants in the very process we study, creators of parallel realities, architects of possibility. And through it all, the question will remain, what does it mean to be human in a multiverse? Perhaps it means what it has always meant, to be aware, to be curious, to seek connection. The scale of reality does not change our essence. Whether in one universe or many, to be human is to ask, to imagine, to love. The multiverse may never be proven, but its power lies not only in truth, but in transformation. It transforms how we see ourselves, how we see the cosmos, how we see meaning. It reminds us that reality is abundant, that possibility is endless, that existence is not fragile but prolific. And it humbles us, reminding us that even in infinity, we are significant because we are aware. So let us return one final time to the image of the night sky. Above us, stars burn and fade, galaxies drift, space expands. Each point of light is ancient, each distance immeasurable. And yet, beyond even that grandeur, there may be more universes stacked upon universes, infinite horizons beyond the visible. Stand there, beneath the stars, and let the immensity wash over you. Feel both your smallness and your belonging. Remember that you are a child of this universe, and perhaps of many. Remember that you are a fragment of infinity, and that infinity is contained in you. For in the end, the multiverse is not only a scientific idea. It is a mirror, reflecting the deepest truth of the human spirit, that we are seekers without end, explorers of mystery, dreamers of possibility, and that in our searching, in our wondering, in our asking, we become part of the very infinity we long to understand. Every journey has an ending, yet every ending opens into something larger. So it is with our exploration of the multiverse. We began with physics, with equations etched on chalkboards, with photons measured in laboratories, with telescopes peering across billions of light years. We wandered through theories of cosmic inflation, quantum mechanics, black holes, string landscapes, and we discovered that science, at its boldest, borders on poetry. That to ask about the multiverse is not only to ask about reality, but about ourselves. For what is humanity, if not a question wrapped in flesh? We are finite creatures dreaming of infinity. We are temporal beings haunted by eternity. We are fragile minds daring to imagine universes beyond our own. And in this daring lies our greatest strength. The multiverse, if real, is vast beyond comprehension. But even if it is only an idea, its power is undeniable. It transforms how we think about beginnings. No longer is the Big Bang a singular miracle. It becomes one note in a symphony without end. It transforms how we think about endings. No longer is heat death final. It is one closing act among countless others. It transforms how we think about identity. No longer are we singular selves. We are variations on a cosmic theme, scattered across possibility. And yet, amid this immensity, the human heart beats steadily. For all the infinities, this life remains singular. This sunrise, this touch, this laughter, this grief, they are irreplaceable. Out of endless realities, this one is ours. That alone makes it sacred. Perhaps the greatest gift of the multiverse is perspective. It humbles us, reminding us that reality is not ours to control. It exalts us, reminding us that awareness is extraordinary. and it comforts us, suggesting that nothing is ever truly lost in the fullness of existence. But there is more. The multiverse is not only a scientific or philosophical concept. It is a mirror of the human condition. Just as universes may multiply endlessly, so too do our dreams, our stories, our possibilities. We are multiverses within ourselves. Every memory a branch, every choice a divergence, every dream an alternate reality lived in the theater of the mind. In this sense, we already know the multiverse. We live it every day, in the what-ifs of our past, in the hopes of our future, in the imaginations that fill our present. Science has given those intuitions cosmic scale, but the feeling is ancient. We have always known that reality is larger than what we see. What then shall we do with this knowledge? Shall we despair at our smallness? No, we shall celebrate our awareness. Shall we fear the infinity of possibilities? No, we shall embrace the preciousness of this one. Shall we wait for proof before we wonder? No, wonder itself is the proof that we belong to the cosmos. For what other reason would the universe grow eyes to see itself, minds to question itself, hearts to love itself? The story of the multiverse is, in the end, the story of humanity's relationship with mystery. We have always lived in mystery. The cave was mysterious, the sea was mysterious, the stars were mysterious. We have always asked, always reached, always created meaning in the face of the unknown. The multiverse is the latest form of mystery, vast enough to outlast us, infinite enough to keep wonder alive for generations. And perhaps that is its purpose. Not to be solved, but to be lived with. Not to be proven, but to be pondered. Not to close the story, but to keep it open forever. So, let us imagine one last image. A human figure, small against the vast night sky, standing alone but not lonely. Above, the stars stretch into the black, ancient and silent. And beyond those stars, unseen but imagined, universes without number. The figure looks up, eyes filled with awe, heart filled with questions. And in that moment, reality itself is illuminated. For the multiverse is not only out there, beyond the reach of telescopes. It is here in the courage to wonder. It is here in the humility to accept our smallness. It is here in the joy of being alive in a universe that allows thought at all. We do not need to prove infinity to live as though reality is infinite. We need only to love, to create, to imagine, to seek. Those acts are themselves infinite. They echo beyond us, beyond time, perhaps even beyond universes. And so the story ends as it began, with silence. But it is no longer the silence of emptiness. It is the silence of possibility, vast and waiting. A silence not to be feared, but to be filled with our questions, our music, our stories. The universe or multiverse is unfinished, and so are we. Every generation inherits questions it cannot fully answer. For our ancestors, the mysteries were immediate. Why does the sun rise? Why do seasons change? What are the stars? Today, our mysteries are cosmic. What is dark matter? What ignited the Big Bang? Is our universe alone? Among these, the idea of the multiverse towers above the rest, not because it is simple, but because it is inexhaustible. It does not ask for a single answer. It asks us to imagine forever. When you think of infinity, your mind rebels. Infinity cannot be counted, cannot be measured, cannot be finished. And yet, the multiverse suggests that infinity may be the natural state of reality. That existence, rather than being a fragile spark, is a fire that never dies, burning in endless forms. This thought is not meant to crush us. It is meant to enlarge us. We are not small because we are one among many. We are vast because we are aware of the many. We are not diminished by the possibility of parallel universes. We are exalted by the fact that in one of them, here and now, we are alive and thinking about it. The challenge is not to prove or disprove the multiverse. The challenge is to live well with the possibility, to let it inspire us, humble us, and remind us that meaning is not scarce. It is abundant like the universes themselves. Consider how this changes the way we think of time. In a single universe view, time is linear, fragile, slipping away. In a multiverse view, time is abundant, branching, cyclical, reborn in endless variations. This does not mean we should neglect the moment. It means we should treasure it more deeply, knowing it is unique even among infinities. Every second lived consciously is irreplaceable, no matter how many versions of time may exist elsewhere. Consider how it changes the way we think of choice. In a single universe, choice feels absolute, defining the one path we walk. In a multiverse, every choice may unfold somewhere, every path may be taken, but this does not render choice meaningless. It makes it sacred. For though other versions may exist, only here, only now do you make this choice. Only here do you carry the weight, the responsibility, the beauty of it. And consider how it changes the way we think of death. In a single universe, death feels final, a boundary that cannot be crossed. In a multiverse, death is recontextualized. Somewhere, life continues. Somewhere, other versions of you survive, thrive, dream. But again, this does not erase the poignancy of mortality. It makes this life, this fleeting light, shine all the brighter. Philosophy has long sought permanence. Religions have long sought eternity. The multiverse offers something different. Not permanence, but abundance. Not eternity as endless duration, but eternity as endless variation. To live within that vision is to live in an ocean where every wave is real, every ripple matters, every drop contains infinity. And what of love? Love, too, gains new depth in such a vision. In one universe, two people meet. In another, they pass as strangers. In another still, their lives unfold in ways unrecognizable. But here, in this universe, in this timeline, they find each other. Does the possibility of other outcomes diminish this one? No, it sanctifies it. It shows that out of countless possibilities, this reality exists, and that makes it more precious than gold. The same is true of art. Every painting, every song, every story is one version among endless possibilities. Yet the fact that it exists here, in this universe, gives it weight and beauty. The existence of infinite symphonies does not make one melody less moving. It makes the act of creating, of listening, of being touched by beauty, a miracle that resonates across the infinite. And so, the multiverse is not only about physics. It is about perspective. It is about how we live, how we love, how we dream. It asks us to step outside our narrow view of reality and see ourselves in context, not as the center, but as participants in something immeasurable. The future may bring evidence, or it may not. We may detect subtle scars in the cosmic background, or gravitational echoes from neighboring universes, or quantum signatures of branching realities. Or perhaps the multiverse will remain forever just beyond the reach of instruments. But either way, the idea has already changed us. It has already expanded the boundaries of thought. It has already become part of our story. And that story continues. We are not at the end. We are at the beginning. The universe or multiverse is still young, still unfolding, still surprising. Our species, too, is young, still learning, still imagining. Together, we are partners in an unfinished symphony, notes in an endless composition. So let this be the closing thought. The multiverse may be infinite, but so is our capacity for wonder. The cosmos may hold countless universes, but so does a single human heart. Within us are galaxies of memory, constellations of imagination, black holes of mystery, supernovas of love. We are not separate from the cosmos. We are its reflection, its expression, its question made flesh. Stand once more beneath the stars. Let their ancient light remind you that time is vast, space is vast, possibility is vast. And then, let your own heartbeat remind you that even in infinity, the present moment is priceless. The multiverse is not a threat to meaning. It is the amplification of it. It tells us that reality is not limited, not fragile, not singular. It tells us that existence itself is the miracle, infinite, abundant, eternal. And in the silence that follows, you may realize the multiverse has always been within you. In your memories, your choices, your dreams. You are already infinite. You are already part of the many. You are already and always have been more than one universe could contain. If the universe could speak, what would it say? Perhaps it would whisper not in words, but in light. The glow of galaxies, the shimmer of nebulae, the quiet pulse of background radiation left from its birth. Perhaps it would speak through gravity, through the invisible threads binding stars to one another, holding the cosmic web in place. Or perhaps it would speak through us, through human thought, through our questions, through our unyielding hunger to understand. And if the universe could speak of the multiverse, what would it reveal? Maybe it would say, I am not one, but many. I am not a story, but a library. I am not a single flame, but a fire without end. For the multiverse is not just an idea of physics. It is a way of seeing existence itself, not as singular and finished, but as infinite and unfinished. Each universe a verse, each verse part of a cosmic poem that never ends. In this vision, we are not readers alone. We are also the ink. Our lives, our choices, our awareness are part of the text, woven into the great unfolding. The multiverse is not only out there, in unreachable dimensions. It is here, in every moment we live, in every possibility we imagine, in every story we tell. To live with this awareness is to live differently. It is to walk more gently, knowing that reality is larger than comprehension. It is to love more fiercely, knowing that even if infinite versions of us exist, this one is unique. It is to wonder more deeply, knowing that mystery is not a barrier but a gift. For mystery sustains us. Without it, curiosity would wither. Without it, art would fade. Without it, science would have no frontier. The multiverse ensures that mystery is eternal, that no matter how far we reach, there is always more beyond. Imagine, for a moment, standing on the edge of a vast ocean at night. The waves stretch endlessly into darkness. You cannot see the far shore. Perhaps there is none. Each wave is a universe, rising and falling, unique yet part of the same sea. You are a witness on the shore, small yet connected, aware that the ocean does not end with your sight. That is the multiverse, an ocean of existence, of which we are both drop and observer. And yet, amid that immensity, the human voice matters. When we tell stories, when we sing, when we ask questions of the stars, we add notes to the symphony. Our awareness is not a trivial accident. It is the universe reflecting upon itself, for the first time perhaps, or for the millionth across infinite branches. Even if we never prove the multiverse, even if it remains forever beyond our reach, the act of imagining it is already participation. To wonder is to join the conversation of existence. To ask is to echo the creative abundance that may lie at the heart of reality. And so, the voice of the universe, if it could speak, might say, "You are part of me and I am part of you. You ask about me, but in asking, you reveal yourselves. You wonder if I am infinite, but your wonder is already infinite." You fear insignificance, but your awareness is significance itself. Perhaps this is the final lesson, that the multiverse is not about escape, but about embrace. Not about fleeing our world, but about cherishing it more. Not about diminishing meaning, but about amplifying it until it fills the silence of eternity. So let us embrace it. Let us live as though reality is abundant. Let us love as though time is precious. Let us create as though our stories ripple through infinity. Let us wonder as though wonder itself is the purpose. For in the end, whether there is one universe or many, the truth is the same. Existence is a miracle. The atoms that compose us were forged in stars. The thoughts that shape us are born of starlight made conscious. The love that binds us is as real as gravity, as luminous as galaxies, as enduring as time itself. The multiverse, then, is not only about parallel worlds. It is about this world, seen through the lens of infinity. It is about recognizing that to exist at all is to be extraordinary. So stand once more beneath the stars. Let the silence envelop you. Let the immensity humble you. And let the possibility of parallel universes inspire you. For even if we are only one among endless realities, this one is ours. And that is enough. Every universe, if the multiverse exists, is a boundary, a frontier where the finite touches the infinite. Stars are born, galaxies assemble, minds awaken, and then, in time, all fades. Each cosmos is temporary, yet together, they form an endless abundance. And within this abundance, humanity occupies a peculiar role. We are not the largest creatures of the cosmos, nor the oldest, but we are bridges between matter and meaning, between the measurable and the imagined, between the finite and the infinite. Our lives are brief, measured in decades, set against cosmic timescales of billions of years. Our bodies are small, fragile, made of the same atoms that scatter across space. And yet, within us lives awareness, a quality no telescope can weigh, no equation can contain. We are finite beings, but within us burns an infinite longing. That longing is our bridge, carries us across the chasm of mystery. It binds us to the cosmos even as it reminds us we can never hold all of it in our hands. When we ask about parallel universes, we are not only asking about physics. We are asking whether the bridge we walk extends beyond the horizon. We are asking if the questions themselves have no end, if every answer will only open into another universe of mystery. And in that endlessness, we glimpse our kinship with reality itself. For we, too, are unfinished. The bridge of humanity is built from countless stones. Language, art, science, love, memory. Each generation lays its stones on top of the last. The first stories told by firelight were stones. The first constellations traced in the sky were stones. The first equations scratched into clay were stones. Today, satellites orbit Earth, telescopes peer into cosmic dawn, quantum computers hum in laboratories. These too are stones. Together they form the walkway we tread, carrying us toward horizons we cannot yet see. The multiverse, then, is not an endpoint but a direction. It is the horizon calling us to continue, reminding us that every time we believe the map is complete, there are more pages waiting. It tells us that reality is not a wall but an ocean, and we are not trapped within one shore but forever sailing, forever discovering. To live with this vision is to live differently. It is to accept that certainty is not the foundation of meaning. Wonder is. It is to see each day not as repetition, but as participation in the unfolding of infinity. It is to treat every human life as precious, not because it is singular in all reality, but because it is irreplaceable in this one. The bridge is also fragile. Our civilization is young. Our technologies are powerful, but so are our risks. We can destroy forests faster than they grow, alter climates faster than they adapt, build weapons faster than wisdom can contain them. If we are truly a bridge between the finite and the infinite, then the responsibility is immense. For the bridge can collapse if we forget what it is for. It is not for conquest, but for connection. Not for dominance, but for discovery. Not for fear, but for awe. Imagine a future where humanity embraces this role fully. A future where science is not only about control, but about wonder. Where art is not only about beauty, but about perspective. Where culture is not only about survival, but about meaning. In such a future, the multiverse becomes not a threat, but a symbol of endless possibility, of infinite creativity, of eternal curiosity. And perhaps this is the secret. The multiverse does not need to be proven for it to be true in spirit. Whether or not parallel universes exist, the very idea teaches us how to live, teaches us to accept abundance, teaches us to honor the present. It teaches us to walk the bridge we have been given, not with despair at its fragility, but with reverence for its direction. Every sunrise, then, is more than light scattered in the atmosphere. It is a reminder that in this universe, stars shine and planets turn. Every heartbeat is more than blood moving through veins. It is a reminder that in this universe, matter has learned to feel. Every question is more than a puzzle. It is a reminder that in this universe, minds exist that can wonder about infinity. The multiverse might be endless, but we do not need endlessness to find meaning. We need only to stand on the bridge, to look both ways, backward, toward the origins written in starlight, and forward, toward horizons yet unseen. That act alone places us exactly where we belong, between the finite and the infinite, between silence and song, between mystery and understanding. So let us honor the bridge. Let us continue to build it, stone by stone, question by question, act by act. Let us remember that we are not crossing it alone. We walk it together across generations, across cultures, across time. And as we walk, let us not forget to pause, to look up at the stars, and to marvel that there is a bridge at all. For in the end, humanity is not the center of the cosmos, nor the end of its story. We are the crossing. We are the threshold. We are the place where the finite learns to dream of infinity. And that is enough to make even one universe miraculous. Enough to make even an infinity of universes luminous. Enough to make us eternal, not in duration, but in meaning. There comes a moment, at the end of every journey, when words begin to fade. Not because there is nothing left to say, but because silence itself becomes the truest language. The story of the multiverse brings us here, to a horizon where knowledge dissolves into wonder, and wonder becomes the final truth. We have walked through galaxies, through equations, through philosophies. We have imagined universes branching with every choice, universes colliding in dimensions beyond sight, universes born in black holes and dying in silence. We have stood on the edge of infinity and dared to look outward. And what have we found? Not certainty, not proof, but something perhaps greater: perspective. The multiverse teaches us that existence may be larger than comprehension, richer than imagination, more generous than any single story can contain. It shows us that our universe, vast and ancient as it is, may be only one among countless others. And yet, it reminds us that this universe, the one that holds our earth, our lives, our loves, is precious beyond measure. For all its speculation, the multiverse is not about escaping reality. It is about embracing it more deeply. It tells us that meaning is not confined to scale, that significance is not erased by abundance. In fact, it tells us the opposite, that the very act of living here and now is extraordinary precisely because it happens in this thread of infinity. Imagine the final image of a documentary. The camera drifting away from Earth, past the moon, past the planets, past the stars. Galaxies shrink into dust, clusters dissolve into filaments, and the universe itself becomes a bubble in a sea of others. And then, beyond even that, silence. Not emptiness, but fullness beyond measure. A silence filled with possibility. And within that silence, us, small, fleeting, fragile, and yet luminous, because we ask, because we wonder, because we dare to imagine more. If the multiverse exists, then reality is infinite. If it does not, then the universe we inhabit is still vast beyond measure. In both cases, the lesson is the same. We belong to something greater than ourselves. We are participants in a story larger than comprehension. So let us live accordingly. Let us carry awe into our daily lives. Let us treat each other with the reverence due to fellow travelers on the same fragile world. Let us create, explore, imagine, not because the multiverse demands it, but because being alive demands it. And when the night sky stretches above us, let us look up not with fear, but with gratitude. Gratitude that we are here. Gratitude that the cosmos allows consciousness at all. Gratitude that, in one of its countless forms, reality has written the story of us. Perhaps this is the true ending. Not an answer, but an invitation. An invitation to keep asking, to keep searching, to keep building the bridge between the finite and the infinite. An invitation to remember that, in the end, wonder is enough. So as the screen fades, as the stars recede, as the voice falls silent, what remains is simple. You, alive, aware, standing in one universe, imagining many, and that, in all of existence, may be the greatest miracle of all. Every idea that reshapes humanity begins as an impossibility. Once, flight was impossible. Once, electricity was impossible. Once, exploring the depths of the cosmos was impossible. And now, the multiverse stands before us, wearing the same mask of impossibility. Yet, impossibility is only awaiting truth. It is the seed of tomorrow's reality, hidden in today's doubts. The multiverse, whether real or imagined, offers more than physics. It offers a mirror. When we look into it, we do not only see other universes. We see our own reflection, our longing, our fear, our courage, our creativity. It is not just about stars and equations. It is about what it means to be human in the face of infinity. Our species has always lived between two truths. On one hand, we are finite, our lives short, our bodies fragile, our civilizations temporary. On the other, we carry an infinite hunger to understand, to create, to imagine. This hunger is why we carve art into stone, why we send probes into interstellar space, why we ask questions that have no certain answers. We are, in a sense, the multiverse made conscious of itself. Think of every library built, every painting hung, every melody written. These are our ways of multiplying meaning, of refusing to let existence be singular. We create parallel worlds within imagination because we sense, perhaps intuitively, that reality itself may not be limited to one world. Our myths of many heavens, our tales of shadow worlds, our stories of alternate lives, they are not fantasies alone. They are echoes, resonances of a truth science is only now beginning to articulate. And what if it is true? What if the multiverse exists, infinite in scope, overflowing with variation? Then our universe is not a solitary flame, but one candle among endless others. Some burn brightly, some dimly, some flicker out before they cast light. Yet the darkness is never total, because there are always more flames. Creation, in this vision, is not fragile but inexhaustible. This perspective transforms how we live. In a singular universe, we may cling to permanence, fearing the end. In a multiverse, permanence is replaced with abundance. There is always more, always another dawn, always another story. Yet paradoxically, this does not make our life less meaningful. It makes it more. For out of infinite possibilities, this is the one where we are conscious, breathing, aware. That uniqueness within infinity is its own miracle. The multiverse also redefines progress. For too long, humanity has seen progress as conquest of land, of resources, of knowledge. But if existence is infinite, conquest is meaningless. There is no edge to master, no final truth to own. What remains is participation. Progress is not about control. It is about communion. It is about deepening our relationship with reality, learning to see more, understand more, feel more. In this way, science itself becomes a form of art. A telescope is not just an instrument. It is a brushstroke on the canvas of existence. A particle accelerator is not just a machine. It is a symphony of curiosity, orchestrated by minds daring to glimpse the unseen. Every equation written, every observation made, is not only knowledge gained, but beauty revealed. And beauty is central here, for the multiverse, however abstract, is also an aesthetic vision. It is the image of existence not as plain necessity, but as boundless creativity. An infinite gallery of universes, each a masterpiece, each unique. To contemplate it is to contemplate art on the grandest scale imaginable. But beauty alone is not enough. We must also live responsibly. If we are indeed participants in infinity, then our actions echo beyond us. In this universe, we hold fragile treasures. A blue planet, a web of life, a tapestry of cultures. These are not trivial. They are our verse in the cosmic poem. To neglect them would be to silence our contribution to the symphony. And what of death within such a vision? Death remains real, personal, painful, but perhaps it is not the end of existence, only the end of experience within this branch. Perhaps life, like universes, is abundant, arising, vanishing, reappearing in endless variation. Whether literal or metaphorical, this abundance gives us comfort. It tells us that nothing, not even loss, can erase the miracle of having been. So we return to the question, what is humanity's place in the multiverse? The answer is simple yet profound. We are the bridge. We are the finite that dreams of the infinite. We are the momentary that imagines eternity. We are the small that dares to ask about the immeasurable. Our role is not to master infinity, but to marvel at it, to learn from it, to reflect it back through art, science, and love. Perhaps that is why the idea of the multiverse feels both alien and familiar. Alien because it shatters our notions of singularity. Familiar because it resonates with what we already are, beings of multiplicity, living many lives in memory, imagination, and dream. As the stars will above, as galaxies drift, as time unfolds, we remain here, on this pale blue, whispering questions into the dark. And whether or not the multiverse answers, the act of asking is enough. Because to ask is to be human. To ask is to be infinite. To ask is to become, for a moment, the universe speaking to itself. And in that, perhaps, lies the greatest truth of all. In the darkness of space, light is everything. Stars ignite, scattering photons across the void. Galaxies shimmer as beacons in an ocean of black. Even the faintest glimmer, after traveling billions of years, can reach our eyes and remind us that creation endures. Without light, the cosmos would be invisible, silent, unknowable. So it is with humanity. In the vastness of time and space, we are small, fragile, temporary. But like stars, we shine. Our awareness is light. Our curiosity is light. Our art, our science, our love. These are rays that pierce the surrounding dark. If the multiverse exists, then each universe is an expanse of shadow and brilliance, and we are one of its lights, flickering yet radiant. What makes light extraordinary is not its permanence, but its journey. A star may burn for only a few billion years, yet its photons travel far longer, carrying its story across eternity. So too with us, our lives are finite, but the meanings we create ripple outward in culture, in memory, in influence. A thought spoken today can inspire someone centuries from now. A discovery made in this age may shape worlds yet unborn. Like starlight, our presence continues long after its source is gone. When we think of the multiverse, we often imagine infinite variations. Universes where we do not exist, universes where everything is different. Yet perhaps what matters most is that in this universe, here and now, we shine. It does not matter that there may be other lights elsewhere. What matters is that this light burns at all. Light is also fragile. A candle can be extinguished by the faintest breath. A civilization, too, can be lost to its own neglect, its own short-sightedness. The Earth is a rare jewel in cosmic darkness, and its light is not guaranteed. The multiverse, if real, may be filled with worlds where civilizations never rose or fell before they could learn to see the stars. That we exist at all is not inevitable. It is miraculous, and that miracle carries responsibility. To shine is to illuminate not only the path ahead, but the darkness around us. Our knowledge must light the way. Our compassion must soften the shadows. Our imagination must cast visions where despair sees only night. If humanity is light, then every act matters. Every kindness is a photon. Every discovery is a beacon. Every dream is a star in the human sky. In this way, the multiverse becomes not only a scientific hypothesis but a stage for meaning. Even if there are countless universes, each with its own lights, this one remains unique. For in this one, our species carries the torch. In this one, our voices rise against silence. In this one, we transform darkness into story. Think of a telescope pointed into deep space. It gathers faint light from galaxies so distant they appear as smudges. Yet within those smudges are billions of stars, billions of possible worlds. The telescope does not erase their distance. It makes their light known. Humanity is like that telescope. We do not erase infinity, but we reveal it. We do not conquer darkness, but we illuminate it enough to see ourselves reflected in it. And in that reflection, we find beauty. Not the beauty of certainty, but of possibility. Not the beauty of final answers, but of endless questions. The multiverse, if it exists, is an ocean of shadows and stars. But without light, without awareness, even infinity would be silent. Here lies the paradox. In scale, we are nothing. In significance, we are everything. Because meaning is not measured by size. It is measured by illumination. A single candle in a vast cavern transforms the entire space. So too does a single mind in a vast cosmos. Our future, then, depends on how we choose to shine. We can burn recklessly, consuming ourselves too soon. Or we can nurture our flame, pass it forward, let it grow into constellations of civilization. We can choose to dim into silence, or we can choose to illuminate the infinite. The multiverse may hold endless universes, but this one asks, will you shine? Light also binds. Photons born in the heart of a star may scatter across unimaginable distances, yet they travel together, woven into beams, into patterns, into waves. Humanity, too, is bound by shared light. Each culture, each language, each story is a wavelength in the spectrum of our existence. Alone, a single note. Together, a radiant chorus. In this sense, the multiverse is not only out there. It is within us. Each memory a universe of its own. Each dream a cosmos waiting to be born. Each choice a star ignited in the landscape of possibility. We are both light and the carriers of light. We are the shadows and the illumination. So when you think of parallel universes, think not only of distant worlds beyond reach. Think of the light you carry. Think of the photons of meaning you release each day, in words, in gestures, in acts of creation. For these are not lost. Like starlight, they travel, unseen perhaps, but enduring. And perhaps one day, when another consciousness, human or otherwise, looks into the depths of existence, it will catch a glimmer of our light. And in that glimmer, it will know we were here, we shone. This is what it means to be human in the multiverse. Not to outlast eternity, not to master infinity, but to shine in the moment we are given, to illuminate the darkness we inhabit, to carry awareness like a torch in a night without end. The stars above us remind us of what is possible. The silence around us reminds us of what is fragile. And the light within us reminds us of what is real. So let us shine, not because we are infinite, but because we are finite. Not because our light is everlasting, but because it is brief. Not because we are many, but because we are here. And perhaps, in the grand ocean of the multiverse, that single act of shining is enough to turn eternity into meaning. Sound cannot travel through the vacuum of space. The cosmos, for all its brilliance, is silent to the human ear. And yet, we often describe the universe in terms of echoes, the echo of the Big Bang still lingering in the cosmic microwave background, the echo of supernovae scattering elements across galaxies, the echo of gravitational waves rippling through spacetime. An echo is not the original event. It is its memory carried forward, a trace that endures after the source has vanished. So it is with humanity. We are finite beings, but our existence reverberates. Every word spoken, every discovery made, every kindness given, every story told. These are echoes. They ripple outward, long after we are gone, long after the moment has passed. If the multiverse exists, then our echoes may be infinite, crossing not only time but universes themselves, patterns of meaning repeating in endless variations. Think of the earliest humans who carved symbols into stone or sang songs beneath unfamiliar skies. Their voices are gone, but their echoes remain. In artifacts, in traditions, in the very DNA passed through generations. In the same way, our own age will echo forward, leaving traces that future minds will uncover. We may never know what becomes of those echoes, but we can be certain of this: they will exist. Physics itself is built on echoes. Light from distant stars is an echo of nuclear furnaces billions of years old. The faint hiss detected by radio antennas is an echo of the universe's birth. Even the atoms in our bodies are echoes of ancient stellar explosions, the remnants of stars that died so that we could live. To be human is to be built of echoes, to carry within us the memory of cosmic events written in matter itself. The multiverse amplifies this truth. If infinite universes exist, then echoes are not confined to one history. They are endless, multiplying, reflecting across countless realities. Each act, each life, may resonate in ways we cannot imagine, shaping universes we will never see. To live is to send echoes into eternity, whether we intend to or not. This perspective reshapes responsibility. Our actions are not isolated. They reverberate. A word of compassion can echo for generations, carried through families and cultures. A discovery in one century can transform the lives of countless people in the next. Even mistakes, even failures, echo not to erase us, but to remind us of the weight of our presence. We are finite in duration but infinite in influence. And echoes are not only external. Within ourselves, memory is an echo. Every thought is a resonance of neurons firing, a reverberation of experiences past. Dreams, too, are echoes, fragments of possibility replayed in the theater of the mind. In this sense, each of us is a multiverse of echoes, carrying within us entire worlds of remembered and imagined reality. Art makes echoes deliberate. A song is written not for a moment, but for repetition, for resonance across time. A painting is an echo in color, surviving centuries. A poem is an echo in words, carrying emotion long after its author is dust. Science, too, creates echoes. Equations written on a page continue to shape discoveries centuries later. Every experiment, every observation, is a call into the dark, awaiting its echo in future understanding. And what of death? In a single universe, death feels final. But echoes remind us that nothing vanishes completely. Just as the collapse of a star leaves elements for new worlds, so too does a human life leave echoes for others. Laughter remembered, love given, knowledge shared. These endure, shaping lives yet unborn. In a multiverse, those echoes multiply infinitely, rippling across countless versions of reality. This makes each moment sacred, for we do not only live, we resound. Every breath, every thought, every act is a note in the great echo of existence. To live carelessly is to forget that we are instruments in a symphony larger than ourselves. To live consciously is to shape our echo with intention, knowing it will travel farther than we can imagine. Perhaps the multiverse itself is one vast echo, reality reverberating upon itself, repeating patterns in endless variations. Galaxies echo galaxies, atoms echo stars, minds echo the cosmos. Each universe a resonance of another, each reality a vibration in the infinite fabric. And humanity, small as we are, is part of that resonance. We are the echo of stardust, the echo of evolution, the echo of countless generations of lives lived before us. And we, too, will be echoed in memory, in story, in the ripples of our choices. So when you think of parallel universes, think of echoes. Think of how every life, every act, every word sends ripples into infinity. Think of how even silence is not empty, but filled with resonance waiting to be heard. In the end, we may never know whether the multiverse is real, but we do know this: existence itself is an echo. We are here because the universe remembered itself, because stars exploded, because atoms persisted, because life carried forward. And now we carry it further still. Stand again beneath the stars. Listen, not with your ears, but with your mind. Do you hear it? The faint hum of galaxies, the whispers of ancient light, the quiet reverberation of your own heartbeat against eternity. That is the sound of echoes. That is the music of existence. And whether one universe or many, that music will never end. The universe forgets nothing. That is one of its quietest truths. Every photon that leaves a star, every ripple that passes through space-time, every atom that collides and rearranges, all of it leaves a trace. The cosmos is a great archive, not written in ink and parchment, but in energy and motion, in structure and transformation. When we gaze into the night sky, we are not only looking at stars, we are looking into memory. The light reaching us tonight may have begun its journey when dinosaurs still roamed Earth, or when no life existed here at all. The galaxies we see are memories projected onto the present. Even the faint background radiation that surrounds us is memory itself, the afterglow of the universe's birth, preserved like a photograph nearly 14 billion years old. Memory, then, is not just human. It is cosmic. And in this light, the multiverse can be seen as infinite memory, each universe recording its own story, each story a volume in an eternal library. Some volumes may be long and complex, filled with galaxies and life. Others may be short, sparse, perhaps only a few lines of physics before silence. But together, they form the memory of reality itself, abundant and inexhaustible. We, too, are part of this memory. The atoms of our bodies are records of stellar processes, remnants of ancient stars that collapsed long ago. The calcium in our bones, the iron in our blood, the oxygen in our breath, each is a page torn from the history of stars. We carry the universe's memory within us, written not in words but in matter. Our civilizations add to that archive. Every story told, every structure built, every discovery made becomes part of the Earth's memory. Some of it is fragile, paper that crumbles, voices that fade. But some of it endures, stone carvings, digital data, even the patterns etched into DNA. We are memory keepers, writing our presence into the cosmos. And what of memory in the multiverse? If countless universes exist, then countless memories exist as well. Each universe holds its own record, its own unfolding. Perhaps memory itself is the thread that connects them, not in communication but in resonance, each reality remembering its own story, unaware of the others, yet together forming the infinite recollection of existence. Within ourselves, memory is both anchor and compass. Tells us who we are, where we came from, what matters. Without memory, identity dissolves. Without memory, meaning fades. So too with the cosmos. Its memory gives structure to its immensity. Galaxies are not scattered randomly. They are shaped by the memory of gravity, of matter flowing along filaments. Atoms do not drift aimlessly. They remember the laws that bind them. Even time itself can be seen as memory, each moment recording the one before, building continuity from chaos. But memory is not perfect. It fades, it distorts, it reshapes. Human memory is fragile, prone to error, influenced by desire. Cosmic memory, too, may not preserve everything. Black holes swallow information, or so it seems, though even here physics suggests nothing is truly lost, only transformed. Perhaps the multiverse ensures that no memory vanishes entirely, that every possibility, every record, is written somewhere, even if unreadable to us. Art is our way of preserving memory deliberately. A song captures emotion, a painting captures vision, a story captures imagination. These are echoes designed to endure, to remind future generations of what mattered to us. Science is memory in another form, preserving not only facts but patterns, weaving them into laws and theories that carry forward. Together, art and science are humanity's great mnemonic devices, ensuring that our light is not forgotten. The question, then, is not whether memory exists, but what we will leave in it. What will be our trace in the cosmic archive? Will it be destruction, conflict, neglect of our fragile world? Or will it be discovery, creation, compassion? We may not control the multiverse, but we can control the memory we leave behind in this universe. And perhaps memory itself is a kind of immortality. We cannot escape death, but our actions echo in the memories of others, in the structures we build, in the knowledge we pass on. Even if universes multiply infinitely, even if countless versions of us exist, this version, here and now, leaves its own indelible mark. And that is enough. So when you look at the stars, remember that you are looking into memory. When you breathe, remember that you are breathing atoms of ancient stars. When you live, remember that you are writing yourself into the memory of the cosmos. The multiverse may be infinite, but so too is memory. Every event, every life, every heartbeat is recorded somewhere in the great archive of existence. Nothing is wasted, nothing is lost, and in that realization lies comfort. For even when we are gone, the memory remains. The universe remembers, reality remembers, and perhaps in ways we cannot yet imagine, the multiverse itself remembers too. If memory is the archive of what has been, then imagination is the prelude to what may come. And just as the cosmos holds memory in light and matter, perhaps it also holds imagination. A vast dreaming that unfolds not in sleep, but in existence itself. The universe, after all, is not static. It is dynamic, creative, restless. It does not merely preserve what has been. It generates what has never been before. Stars are born where none existed. Worlds form with landscapes unseen in any past. Life emerges in unexpected shapes. Consciousness awakens where once there was only matter. This is not memory alone, this is dreaming. The cosmos dreams in galaxies, in DNA, in awareness. And if the multiverse exists, then those dreams multiply without end. Each universe could be a dream of reality. One where physics bends differently, one where time flows oddly, one where beauty takes forms beyond our comprehension. Some dreams last for eons, some collapse in an instant, some are luminous, some dark. But all are part of the great dreaming of existence, an infinite sleepwalk across eternity. We too are dreamers. Our imaginations are not accidents. They are continuations of the universe's creativity. When we invent stories, when we compose music, when we design worlds in our minds, we echo the very process that gives rise to stars and life. The dreams of humanity are the dreams of the cosmos, reflected in fragile, finite vessels. Think of sleep itself. Every night, we surrender to mystery, drifting into worlds that dissolve at dawn. In dreams, time stretches and collapses, identities shift, realities overlap. We accept the impossible as natural. Could this be a hint, written into our biology, that reality itself may be dreamlike? That universes, too, arise as dreams of possibility, each fading, each giving way to another? The multiverse can be seen, then, as the dreamscape of existence. Each universe is a dream realized, a possibility played out. Some are familiar, others are alien. Some are brief flashes, others endure for billions of years. Together they form an infinite night's sleep, never ending, always creating. And what of us within these dreams? We are dreamers inside a dream. Our lives are short visions within the longer vision of the cosmos. Our imaginations are not separate from reality, but part of its fabric. Every invention, every idea, every vision is a continuation of the cosmic dream. When we picture other universes, we are not escaping. We are participating. This perspective changes how we see failure and success. A dream does not fail because it ends. It simply shifts. Likewise, our lives are not diminished by their brevity. They are moments of dreaming, unique and unrepeatable. In the multiverse, countless versions of us may exist, but this one dream, this life, remains singular. And that singularity is sacred. Science, too, is a form of dreaming. Equations are dreams in symbols. Hypotheses are dreams in structure. Experiments are dreams tested against reality. Every breakthrough began as a dream, someone imagining what had never been imagined before. When Einstein imagined himself chasing a beam of light, he was dreaming. When Newton imagined an apple falling as the moon falls, he was dreaming. The multiverse itself is perhaps the grandest scientific dream. one that may or may not be true, but one that expands the horizon of thought. And art? Art is the purest dream we share. A painting is a dream frozen in color. A poem is a dream carved into words. Music is a dream made audible, vibrating through air and soul. Together, art and science are the twin dreams of humanity. One seeking truth, the other seeking meaning, both part of the larger dream of the cosmos. If the universe dreams, then perhaps consciousness is the moment the dream becomes aware of itself. We are not outside the dream watching, we are inside it, reflecting. This is why our awareness feels so fragile, so astonishing. We are the dream knowing it is a dream. And what of death in this vision? In dreams, endings are never final. One dream fades, another begins. Perhaps life is the same. This dream of self ends, but the dream of existence continues. In a multiverse, that continuation is infinite, countless lives, countless variations, countless awakenings. Death, then, is not a wall but a door, a shift from one dream to another. The question is not whether the cosmos dreams, but how we live within its dreaming. Do we dream passively, letting the visions pass unnoticed? Or do we dream actively, shaping meaning, creating beauty, carrying awareness into the darkness? To be human is to dream deliberately, to transform the raw creativity of the cosmos into conscious acts of love, art, science, and wonder. And so, when you think of the multiverse, think of it not as cold mathematics alone, but as an infinite night sky of dreams. Each star a possibility, each galaxy a vision, each universe a dream unfolding in silence. And within that silence, your life, brief, radiant, irreplaceable, is a dream that matters. For even in infinity, no dream is ever repeated. No echo is exactly the same. No light is wasted. The cosmos dreams, and we are its proof. Dreams are powerful, but even more powerful is the moment of waking. To dream is to drift through possibilities. To awaken is to recognize them. The cosmos, for billions of years, dreamed silently. In the glow of stars, in the swirling of galaxies, in the chemistry of planets. But at some point, in some corner of reality, it began to awaken. That awakening is us. For most of its history, the universe existed without reflection. Stars burned and died, galaxies collided, black holes consumed light, and yet none of it knew it was happening. Existence unfolded, immense and blind. Then, on a small world orbiting an ordinary star, awareness stirred. Matter organized into cells, cells into bodies, bodies into minds. And with those minds, the universe opened its eyes for the first time. We are that opening. We are the cosmos awakening to itself. When a child looks at the stars in wonder, that is the universe looking back at its own grandeur. When a scientist writes an equation, that is the universe studying its own patterns. When an artist paints a vision of infinity, that is the universe imagining itself anew. Through us, reality is no longer silent. It speaks, it dreams, and it awakens. In this light, the multiverse takes on a deeper meaning. Each universe may dream its own dream, but only those with awareness truly awaken. Perhaps many universes remain asleep, their stars and matter unfolding without consciousness. But in some, life arises. In some, minds emerge. In some, the dream crosses into awakening. Ours may be one such universe. If so, then our existence is not trivial. It is transformative. Awakening does not erase mystery. It intensifies it. When we open our eyes after sleep, the world feels both familiar and new. So too with consciousness. The more we awaken, the more we realize how little we know. But this is not weakness. It is the essence of life. To awaken is to wonder. To awaken is to ask questions that dreams alone cannot answer. Human history is a story of gradual awakening. First, we awoke to the earth, to fire, to tools, to survival. Then we awoke to the sky, to the sun, the moon, the stars. Later, we awoke to the universe, to galaxies, to black holes, to cosmic origins. Now we stand at the edge of awakening to the multiverse itself. Each step expands our vision. Each step brings both awe and humility. But awakening is also fragile. Dreams can fade, and so can awareness. Civilizations rise and fall. Knowledge can be lost. The light of consciousness can be extinguished if neglected. To remain awake, we must nurture curiosity, protect wonder, and guard the fragile conditions that allow awareness to thrive. Our planet is not just home. It is the cradle of the universe's awakening. To care for it is to care for the cosmos itself. What does it mean for the universe to awaken through us? It means that we are not separate from reality. We are its expression. We are not observers standing outside. We are participants within. The act of thinking, feeling, imagining is not something imposed upon the cosmos. It is the cosmos in human form reflecting. When we say, "I am conscious," it is reality itself declaring, "I am aware." The multiverse extends this further. If countless universes exist, then countless awakenings may occur. In some, consciousness may never arise. In others, it may flourish in forms unimaginable to us. Each awakening is unique, each a new set of eyes through which reality sees itself. We are one among many, yet no less vital for that. For in infinity, each awakening adds to the chorus. Each perspective enriches the whole. Awakening also reframes death. In dreams, death is feared, the moment of silence, the end of story. But in awakening, death is a transition, part of a larger rhythm. Our personal awareness fades, but awareness itself endures, rising elsewhere, in other beings, in other worlds, in other universes. Consciousness is not destroyed. It is redistributed. Just as starlight scatters into new forms, so too does awareness echo in endless variations. And what of meaning? Dreams offer images, but awakening offers responsibility. To be awake is to know that choices matter, that actions shape not only ourselves but the memory and future of the cosmos. To be awake is to live deliberately, to shape the story consciously rather than drift passively. Meaning is not found. It is created by the awake for the awake. Perhaps one day, our awakening will deepen. Perhaps we will not only know ourselves as conscious, but know the universe itself as conscious. Perhaps awareness is not confined to life, but woven into reality at every scale, waiting for forms like ours to recognize it. If so, then awakening is not a rare accident but the destiny of existence. To dream, to awaken, to reflect, endlessly. So when you stand beneath the stars, remember this: you are not looking at a silent cosmos. You are looking at a dream that has begun to awaken, through you, through us. The stars may seem distant, the galaxies unreachable, the multiverse unimaginable, but you are proof that reality is not asleep. You are its open eyes. The dream continues, the awakening deepens, the cosmos stirs, and in our awareness, the infinite becomes aware of itself. If awakening is the opening of cosmic eyes, then voice is the expression that follows. For billions of years, the universe was silent. Stars formed and collapsed, galaxies spun, black holes devoured light, but none of it spoke. Then, through life, through us, the silence broke. The universe found its voice. That voice is not thunderous. It is subtle, fragile, carried in breath and thought, in music and language. When we speak, when we write, when we sing, the cosmos articulates itself. Our words are not separate from reality. They are its resonance, shaped by air and intention. To say, "I exist," is not only human, it is the universe declaring itself. Consider how extraordinary this is. Matter, once inert, now speaks. The atoms forged in stellar furnaces now form tongues that tell stories, hands that write symphonies, minds that question infinity. This is not metaphor. This is physics become poetry, chemistry become voice. Every syllable is stardust shaped into sound. Every sentence is a constellation of thought. The multiverse deepens this image. If countless universes exist, then countless voices may also exist. Some universes may remain silent, never birthing consciousness. Others may produce voices in forms we cannot imagine, voices not of air, but of light, of vibration, of mathematics itself. In some branches, perhaps silence persists forever. In others, choirs of civilizations sing their presence into the dark. Our voice is one among many, yet irreplaceable in the chorus. And what does the universe say through us? It says what we choose. In science, it speaks in equations, revealing the patterns of space-time, energy, and matter. In art, it sings of beauty, sorrow, and joy. In philosophy, it whispers of meaning and mystery. In kindness, it murmurs compassion. In destruction, it cries out in pain. We are the vocabulary of the cosmos, and our choices determine its language. Every discovery we make, every theory we propose, is the universe speaking about itself. When Newton described gravity, that was reality giving words to its pull. When Darwin traced evolution, that was life narrating its own unfolding. When we imagine the multiverse, that is the cosmos speculating about its own vastness through us. But the voice is not only scientific or intellectual. It is also emotional. When a mother comforts a child, when lovers whisper, when friends laugh, the universe speaks in tones of tenderness. These are not trivialities. They are essential expressions as vital as any equation. For the universe is not only structure, it is also experience. And through us, it gives voice to joy, sorrow, fear, and hope. Silence remains, of course. Most of the cosmos is empty of speech. The vast intergalactic voids hold no words. The majority of time, before and after us, will pass without sound. Yet that is what makes our voice precious. Like a single song in an immense desert, it matters precisely because it is rare. And voices leave echoes. Even when we are gone, our words remain. Books endure. Music persists. Signals travel outward into space, faint but real, carrying greetings to stars that may never answer. Humanity has already spoken into the void, and the void, in its way, listens. Perhaps in another universe, those words resonate differently. Perhaps they are answered. Death, then, is not silence but transformation of voice. Our individual tones fade, but the chorus continues. Future generations pick up the melody. The story carries on. And in the multiverse, perhaps other versions of us continue singing, even when we are silent here. The responsibility of being the universe's voice is immense. What we say matters. Lies distort reality's reflection. Truth clarifies it. Cruelty tarnishes it. Compassion enriches it. Every word is a choice. Do we speak as noise or as music? Do we echo emptiness or do we sing meaning? And perhaps, in the end, the universe does not ask us to explain it fully. Perhaps it only asks us to give it voice, to sing its beauty, to cry its sorrow, to whisper its mysteries, to speak its wonder. We may never know all the answers, but we can give expression to the questions. And in that expression, reality is no longer silent. So when you stand beneath the stars, listen not only with your ears, but with your imagination. Hear the quiet murmur of your own thoughts. That is the voice of the universe, speaking softly through you. Hear the laughter of those around you. That is the universe, alive and joyful. Hear the silence between heartbeats. That too is the cosmos, pausing, waiting for the next word. The multiverse may be infinite, but each voice within it is singular. Ours is one such voice, fragile, fleeting, but real. And in speaking, we make the cosmos known to itself. So let us not fall silent. Let us continue to ask, to wonder, to create. Let us be the song that rises from stardust, the story told against eternity, the chorus of awareness in a universe once mute. For in the end, to be human is to be the voice of reality. And through that voice, the universe or the multiverse will never be silent again. There is a rhythm to existence, though it is not always heard. Galaxies spiral in vast arcs, their stars moving like dancers across eons. Planets orbit in quiet cycles, moons trace their paths, tides rise and fall. Even the tiniest particles vibrate with energy, resonating in patterns invisible to the naked eye. The cosmos does not simply exist, it performs. And if we listen closely, we can hear it not as silence, but as music. The song of the universe is not written on paper or played with instruments. It is written in gravity and light, in the pull of mass and the hum of quantum fields. Black holes sing in gravitational waves. Pulsars beat like cosmic drums. Atoms vibrate in harmonics that form the matter of our world. Every structure, from the smallest molecule to the largest cluster of galaxies, is part of this music. And we, humanity, are listeners but also participants. We hear patterns in the world around us, and we echo them in our art. A symphony is an imitation of the stars. A heartbeat in a drum mirrors the pulse of life itself. Even our languages carry rhythm, rising and falling like waves upon the shore. We do not invent music, we uncover it. It was already here, woven into the fabric of reality. In the vision of the multiverse, this song expands infinitely. Each universe is a melody of its own, shaped by unique laws and harmonics. Some may be discordant, collapsing quickly. Others may resonate for billions of years, their galaxies producing symphonies of stars and life. Together, they form an infinite orchestra, each universe an instrument in the great performance of existence. And our own voice, fragile though it is, belongs to that orchestra. When a child hums, when a choir sings, when someone strums a guitar beneath the night sky, the cosmos itself joins the song through us. We are the notes it could not otherwise play. Our awareness gives harmony to silence, rhythm to mystery, melody to meaning. But the song is not only beauty, it holds dissonance too. There are notes of suffering, of conflict, of loss. Yet even dissonance has its place. Without it, harmony would lose depth. Without sorrow, joy would lose brilliance. The music of reality is not perfection. It is wholeness. It embraces all tones, all voices, all universes. To hear the universe as song is to see meaning not as something hidden, but as something performed. Meaning is not discovered like an object. It is played like music. It lives in the act itself, in the questions we ask, in the connections we make, in the beauty we create. We are not passive observers. We are musicians of the infinite. And like all music, the song of existence is fleeting in its moments, eternal in its resonance. A melody may last only minutes, yet linger for lifetimes. A life may last only decades, yet echo through generations. A universe may last billions of years, yet its song joins the endless chorus. Nothing is wasted. Every note matters. So what, then, is the conclusion of this long journey? It is this: the multiverse may or may not exist as physics proposes, but as metaphor, as philosophy, as imagination, it already lives. It teaches us to hear abundance instead of scarcity, to see possibility instead of limitation, to recognize that our smallness does not erase meaning, it amplifies it. For in the end, we are not only dust. We are dust that sings. We are not only matter. We are matter that makes music. And whether there are countless universes or only one, the fact that there is a song at all is miraculous. So let the final image be this: a night sky, infinite and silent to the ear, yet filled with unseen harmonies. And on a small world, fragile yet radiant, a species listens. Then, slowly, it begins to sing, and in that moment, the silence of eternity becomes music. That is the legacy of humanity. That is the gift of awareness. That is the song of the universe, sung through us. And when the last note fades, when stars cool and galaxies drift apart, the music will not be lost. It will remain as resonance, as memory, as possibility. The universe remembers, the multiverse continues, and the song never ends.